Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Oh, man, we're here for a good time, but not a long time. We're off a little bit early for Texas baseball. As a matter of fact, we'll talk a little Texas baseball with my man Hardball. We'll do that coming up here also momentarily. We'll also get into Texas spring practice updates. They are back at it after spring break. They should be refreshed. Sark spoke to the media. We have some audio cuts from Sark's media availability. We'll get into that as well. Also, little nuggets about Texas basketball and their appearance in the Sweet 16. We got a couple of days before we have to really break that down, but we'll still sprinkle a little bit of Texas basketball conversation in, and disappointing showing from the Texas women and their hopes and dreams are now done in terms of their tournament hopes and dreams. We'll get into that too coming up. The World Baseball Classic, we'll talk about it because there is a championship game coming up between USA and Team Japan. We'll talk about that coming up next segment. We also got Lamar Jackson updates. There are a couple of Lamar Jackson updates to get to. Cowboys making moves, Texans making moves. We'll do that in the top of the 4 and the top of the 6 o'clock. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres and chase his dream and the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for this man, it's a breeze. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Hardball Harge. What's going on, brother?
Chilling. I'm excited for the week to continue Texas baseball. Unfortunately, Texas women's basketball came up a little short. We'll get into that conversation. Texas men are about to get it in, and I can't wait to talk about the WBC championship game because I need to talk about the game from last night that got us to this point. It was outstanding, and we'll get into it. But he sits across from me every single day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn, Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babers.
I appreciate the intro. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we do know that he's underpaid. Patrick Davis. What's going on, Patrick?
Doing good.
All right, we got a lot to get into. Don't have a ton of time because we're off early for Texas baseball, so we'll pick Harge's brain about Texas baseball here coming up as well. We'll go behind the burnt orange curtain, talk a little Texas football because they started up spring practice again after spring break. Texas basketball, of course, because Texas men's basketball is in the Sweet 16, and the Texas women with a disappointing outcome versus Louisville last night. So we'll talk about that, too, a little bit. And also we have audio from Steve Sarkisian's media availability. So a ton to get to behind the burn orange curtain. We'll do that momentarily. World Baseball Classic discussion coming up next segment. As Hard says, there's a lot to cover there. Before we do that, let's let you know how you can contact us. You can do it via the Specs text line, 512-337-3776, or you can do it via Twitter. I'm at Rod Babers, Twitterverse Harge at Hardball Harge. My man Patrick Davis said it's Patrick Davis. Yeah, and I just heard the Cowboys made a move. I heard on Chad and Zay the Cowboys made another move. I don't know if this one is as impactful as the previous moves they've made, but it was a necessary one. Necessary.
It ain't as impactful.
No, it's not. It's not as sexy. But it's
still good. It was a position of need.
There you go.
Remember, you were talking about this yesterday.
They go into the draft. They won't have a desperate need for anything.
Exactly.
And they don't want a desperate need for running back.
Exactly.
I think maybe interior D-line is maybe something else you may see shored up by the Cowboys before that. But, yeah, they just want to make sure they can go into the draft and draft best talent available, or wherever the draft, however it falls, that they can just go with the best possible pick for them in their circumstance, but they won't be compelled to draft one way or another, any other position.
For those that are wondering what we're talking about, the Cowboys have just signed Ronald Jones at the running back position. He was a kid that went out to USC before and was on the map for Texas, but he ended up going to USC. He's a Dallas kid. He's from the Metroplex area. It's a good signing for the Cowboys because, like Rod was telling us yesterday, you don't want to go to the grocery store hungry because you pick up some things that you know you're not going to eat at that time.
Or you don't want to go to strip club Well, you know what? Let's move on.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
you don't want to go there. Either way,
you don't want to go there. Yeah,
you don't
spending
spend
a
too
lot of
much
money.
You
That's
don't want
right.
to spend too much money.
That's right. You don't want to go after you had a fight.
You
and
don't
then
do
try to
that.
go in there and try to make it rain, knowing you're going to pay for that tomorrow because your bank is going to be telling you a little show.
We'll get into the Cowboys coming up, top of the 4 and top of the 6 o'clock. They continue to make moves. Texans are also making moves, so we'll get to that coming up in the top of the 4, top of the 6. All right, so let's start out with, if we want to start with Texas women's basketball, we want to wait on that one.
No, let's go ahead. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's rip it off. It was a poor showing by the basketball team. Coach Vic Schaefer said
he apologized.
He apologized to people immediately. Apologized to the Longhorn faithful. It's his job to get the team ready, and he felt like he didn't get the team ready. And I would agree with him to this point. And this goes to the Texas men basketball. This goes to Texas football, Texas baseball. Anybody that's out there playing a sport, and Rod, you can speak to this just as much as I can. It doesn't take a lot for you to be motivated to play another team. It should not take coach coming in there to tell you a story or get you motivated to play against an opponent when you have a chance to go to the Sweet 16, number one. Number two, it doesn't take a lot to motivate you when this is a team that has already beaten you this year, and you know you have a chance to play them on your home court. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Louisville and what they were capable of doing. They've been doing this for years. They've been battling for years. They're a team that has always been in the tournament that will press any other team to the limit. With that being said, those players should have been up to the challenge themselves, and it didn't take Coach Schaefer. Now, if he didn't prepare them properly, didn't give them the right assignments, didn't watch the film properly, then that's on Coach.
Well, he's definitely taking ownership because he apologized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It was on him. So he's taking ownership of it. I mean, they lost 73-51, and Louisville was. I mean, they were just a better team.
Yes, they were
in almost every respect. What I thought was probably most disappointing was that it was a home game.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's basically a home game for Texas, and it looked like the mood showed up.
They did.
It looked like they had a home court advantage, a true one, and yet, man, they shot terribly from the field in their home arena. 1 of 10 from 3-point range, and they only had 19 field goals. Shot 34% from the field. To shoot that badly in your home on your home floor that's to me it's got to be the most heartbreaking thing. You expect home court advantage, basically a home game in the tournament. You're going to at least shoot well. That's not going to be the reason they lost. That's not the only reason they lost. There were other reasons they lost too, but that was probably the most disappointing thing.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And then you watch the game and you're seeing everything that's happening, and they are struggling out the gate, but then you get it to 16-16 at the end of the first quarter, and you're like, okay, let's regroup now. Right? Let's regroup because they started off cold, but then they battled back, got it to 16-16, and you think, all right, now they have a chance. When you get outscored 21-7 in the second quarter, that means there's a lot that was going wrong at that time. Where you get outscored that much in the second quarter, that changes the whole energy of the arena. That changes the way that people were into the game. It kind of silences it. We always talk about taking the crowd out, right? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what Louisville was able to do. They were able to take the home crowd out of it, where you're sitting there saying, okay, can we rally? Can we rally? There was no rallying back.
No, because Texas was their own worst enemy.
Bunch of turnovers.
This is why you think, the turnovers. But this is why you think Texas just wasn't ready to play. That the ladies just weren't in the right mindset. They missed 15 layups.
Oh, bunnies!
They missed 15 layups right at the rim.
Yeah.
Louisville made 17 layups out of their 30 field goals. 17 of them were layups.
Mm-hmm.
So they allowed 17 layups, missed 15 layups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big difference. That's a big difference.
That's a game in a nutshell.
And then what do we always talk about? The free throws. Texas went to the free throw line 20 times. They made 12. They went to the free throw line. Louisville, that is, went to the free throw line 15 times and made 10 of them. So you're looking at it and you're like, and neither team shot well from 3 points.
No, Texas
Both
won.
teams
Texas
were
won
bad.
10, but yeah, they weren't much better.
3 of 13.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so that wasn't the big determining factor.
No, it's
Overall,
the paint,
overall
man.
field goal percentage. Yeah, Louisville ladies they were dominant.
And their bench outscored them 25-18. They had 38 points in the paint. Going back to your layup statement, that's exactly what it was, 38-20
It was a
in the paint.
layup drill.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And they were getting out hustled, too.
No, and that's why Vic Schaefer, I think, why he apologized.
Yeah.
Because this is not a team that's supposed to get out hustled. He always takes pride in his team being the toughest team on the floor, most well prepared team on the floor, the team that's gonna give the most most intense effort, intense on defense, all those types of things, and all those raw intangibles they pretty much lacked,
Yeah.
or at least they were outwilled in this game by Louisville.
Texas
Louisville's a
never-
5 seed. It's not
Yeah.
like Louisville was.
Oh, they're not trash.
Well, no. They're not trash, but
No.
they're not necessarily considered the elite team in the tournament either.
Right.
They had beaten Texas already,
They had
and they're a
beaten them
good
early.
basketball program. But they were a 5 seed, correct?
Yep.
Right.
Texas
Texas is a 4 seed.
Yeah, and Texas never led in this game. Like I said, they got to the point where they tied the game, but Louisville led the entire game. And they had a run. The biggest lead that Louisville had at one point was 27 points. That you can't come back from that. I don't care how good you're shooting on your side, how good they're shooting on their side. If a team is up by 27 and you're not being able to cut it back within those 3-point shots because you weren't shooting that well, you got to the free throw line minimal amount of times.
Their defensive effort was much better in the second half because they forced, I believe, 8 of the 10 turnovers they forced. No, this is a team that's used to forcing close to 20 turnovers per game.
Exactly. That's how they play.
So them only forcing 10 turnovers was also something that for Texas was uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
Usually their defense is forcing the opponent to make a lot more mistakes, and Louisville did not make a lot of mistakes.
Outperformed in every category.
Pretty much.
Yep.
All right, a good season for the ladies. Their season is over. Texas men's basketball, they continue to Sweet 16. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up a little bit later on. But there are a couple of Texas football spring practice updates and nuggets, and we'll be getting to these obviously all throughout the week. But we have some Sark audio that we're going to get to as well. And the first piece of audio, this is the Maalik Murphy audio here, Patrick. Number 1, the first cut. This is the biggest story, I believe, coming out of the post-spring break practices, is that Maalik Murphy is practicing now with the quarterbacks, or at least he's going through some of the throwing drills. This is only the portion of practice that the media had access to, and then they asked Sark about it in the media availability after practice. Here's what Sark had to say about Maalik Murphy now being a part of the quarterback practice group in spring practices.
Yeah, I think, I'll talk about Maalik here real quick first. It was great to have Maalik back out there. Again, he had a minor setback at the end of winter conditioning. We were probably a little bit conservative with him that first week, thinking, okay, if we back off him the first week of spring ball and give him spring break, then he can get back and be going back again here in the second week of spring ball. So that was positive to have him back out there. I think one key, and I know we like talking about the quarterback position, open competition is really healthy for everybody, right? Everybody should feel like, man, if I can push myself to perform at a higher level and ultimately push the guys around me, whether the guys in front of me on the depth chart or behind me, that everybody's play should step up. And it's easy to point to the quarterback competition. Every position's an open competition. I can't tell a guy right now, hey, at whatever position is, he's the starter regardless. Everybody should be striving to be the best that they can be. We've got a long way till we play, right, in September. So ultimately, yeah, can Maalik push Quinn? Of course he can. How far can he take it? Quinn's job is to keep raising his level of play so he can't catch him, right? And that should be at every position across the board.
All right. Good news. Maalik is back practicing with the team. So what are your thoughts, Harge, about Maalik Murphy now being back? I think a lot of the pressure from the Arch conversation kind of dominating the offseason and now even dominating the spring, that he's already going to be potentially number 2, and he's competing with Quinn Ewers. It's coming the national narrative. Something tells me that bothered Malik a little bit.
Absolutely, and the fact that he was being held out. Like he said, we held him out. Wasn't that Malik wasn't able to do it. They just wanted to make sure that he's 100% healthy, so when he does come back out there, he can get to work. I'm glad to see it. I was watching some of the videos of him throwing the ball, and the ball looks like it's coming out of his hand easily, and he didn't look like he was limping or anything like that. So that's definitely a positive. And, again, that was somebody that I thought we were going to be able to see during the bowl game. I thought he was going to get some reps during that time, and didn't get a chance to do it because Texas was behind in that game against Washington.
Yeah, and remember they were, last year, was it the Tech game where they decided to let multiple quarterbacks travel?
Oh, when they traveled, it was
They decided to travel all the quarterbacks.
Yep.
So Sark had intentions on, hey, let's expedite the development of this young man. Let's give him, if he can't get reps in the game, let's give him some mental reps. Let's get him on the road.
Absolutely.
To at least
so he can see what the environment's like,
so
too.
he can understand what the leadership role of the quarterback's going to be, what the routine is, all that kind of stuff. So I think they had that intention. The setback obviously came with the injury. I don't know the status of it now. He's still, he's got a brace on or something like that. So I don't know if that's something to do with it. But either way, he just seems like, right now, I think he may be a little motivated. And I believe the report was that he took reps with the second team.
Yeah,
he was.
Yes, he has been elevated to that spot. And that's why I think when people were talking about it, it was more of the fact that Arch jumped up to the second team because of the fact Malik wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like
which was totally necessary because if Malik had an injury history.
Yes.
So it's listen, we love these guys and they're great. They all have really high ceilings, but you can't make the club in the tub.
Hey.
All right. The most important ability is availability.
Preach.
And if you cannot do that, that ain't nobody's fault, but it's between you and God. Y'all got to handle that. With the coaches, we ain't got nothing to do with that. All right, training staff will do their best, but hey, ask Jay Witt. Jay Witt went through it, and now Jay Witt has changed his entire lifestyle. 2 hours warming up before practices and games, probably 2 hours of a warm down. He's got the cold tub, and everybody else gets to go home and chill out. Well, you got a different lifestyle than everybody else. Your body's different.
No doubt.
All right, get used to it. So with Malik Murphy, that's his own struggle. You have nothing to do with that as a football coach. You got trying to win games.
No doubt.
So
and
if he's not ready to go, you got to
right.
get the next guy ready to go. All right, next man up. And I think that was the attitude behind getting Arch Manning ready. I mean, the truth is, since 1999, there only been 6 seasons, I believe, where Texas has not had to use a backup quarterback because of lack of production from the starting quarterback position or an injury to the starting quarterback position.
Yep.
Knock on wood, because we don't want to see that. But we've seen it the last few years over and over again. Hell, the Big 12 this year, there was only one team in the entire Big 12 that had a quarterback for the entire season play every game and start every game. That was it. It was Iowa State's guy. That's it.
Yep.
Everybody
Deckers.
else had to use some other quarterback for some other reason or another. So you're going to need whoever that backup is. If it's Malik Murphy, great. If it's Arch Manning, great. Both of those guys have really high ceilings. I really don't care which one it is at this time. I don't. I really don't. I mean, because I expect Quinn Ewers to be the starting quarterback, like to win the starting job or to job to be his. If he ends up getting hurt or, having to go down for a game or two, knock on wood, hope that's not the case. But I'm not planning on either one of those guys having to be the starting quarterback at Texas and you having to expedite their development for that particular reason.
Yeah, you don't have to run it back that fast. You're gonna be able to make some things happen. And the fact that Quinn Ewers too, because this is something that we were talking about before. Everybody loves the competition. There's some things that needed to be cleaned up on yours. So with him and the media's attention on, I mean, let's not forget, ESPN was running a story. It was on the crawl talking about Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning in camp together. And it's like, wait, what? I mean, it's just training camp. It's spring football. But the stories are out there. So when you start thinking about the stories, you start thinking about it when you're away from the field, you're watching ESPN, you're seeing it on the crawl, and you're like, yeah, this ain't going to work for me. Let me get back out there and start putting some pressure on people too. So
that's
what
what competition is about.
Yep.
I really
you're
do
a firm
think
believer of it.
there's no doubt about it. I mean, everybody's had injuries before. If there's a Michael Huff and a Nathan Vasher and a Cedric Griffin behind you, you know what? I'm playing.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn.
Playing through it.
Put a brace on it.
Yeah, let's go.
Wrap it up, tape it up, ice it down, whatever you got to do.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not going to lose my job to this dude because this dude gets out there and ball after 2 interception performance.
He
and
got,
we're like,
it's
right,
gone
big
for me.
man, that's his job. Like, nope, ain't going to be his job. Right? That's my job. All right, I'll go out there and I'll lock it down. All right.
Exactly.
I may drop them 2 picks that Huff Dad and Nathan Vasher would have called, but hell, it's damn my damn job. So I feel Malik on that. Malik, I bet Shark told him like, hey man, if you can get out of the training room, it's your job. What?
And they do you like that.
What? You already know
that.
the mind games is played.
Yes.
What's Coach?
Like,
the Coach Aquino used to seat us by depth chart, so you'd walk in there one day and you'd sit in your seat, or somebody was sitting there sitting, he'd be like, "Oh no, man, I'm sorry.
That's not how we going
y'all
today.
need to switch." And you'd be like, you would hear the gasp around the room. Lost his job.
Ooh, gonna be out here.
Oh man, to let everybody know you can lose your job. It sometimes happen after a practice or after a game. You'd be like, ooh, it was scary.
You about to lose your job.
You're about to lose your job. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that happened to me.
Right.
So I think Malik, he felt a little bit of that pressure. Like, hey man, Arch Manning, basically he's a number 2 QB. What? Oh no, hell no, I ain't about to lose my job.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
I love it.
I'm glad he's motivated. Good to have him out there and more competition. That's better for the program overall. All right. So also other guys were back. Jonathan Brooks
Yep.
was back.
Glad to see it.
Sark was asked about Jonathan Brooks being back with the team practicing during spring practice. Here is Sark.
I thought Jonathan looked good today. First day back. Obviously, coming off the surgery in the off season, he looks strong. You can feel like his body's changing. Definitely a confident player. He's going into year 3. And that's a positive thing. That room has got great competition as well. We don't have Keelan out there yet, but to have Keelan and Jonathan and Blue and Cedric Baxter, Savion Red, I mean that room's going to be solid, and we know there's going to be a new face or 2 or whatever it looks like compared to what it looked like a year ago. So to have Jonathan back is a real positive for us.
They're going to need him, Arch.
Yeah. They're going to need all of them.
I'm glad you said it that way.
They're going to need all of them. I mean, there's a lot of experience and inexperience when you're looking at this team. So if there is something that you are looking at to be able to say, all right, we can turn to this guy to do this. And I know he talks about Keelan Robinson and he can let him have that start, but that's not his job. Keelan Robinson is not that type of back.
Nope.
You need those backs like a Jonathan Brooks. We've heard a lot about C.J. Baxter and what he's been able to do. Let's not forget when Jaden Blue when he was actually playing, he was one of the top backs, if not the top back in the state of Texas during that time. And we know that it's taken some time for him to get on that field, but this is what it's all about. This is the time for you guys to kind of separate yourselves in the spring. So when we come to camp in the fall, everybody knows that now I'm competing against him. He's the starter as of right now because of the performance that he gave us during the spring. Now I have to challenge him for that position and playing time because I want to be, if he's going to be the starter, I want to be number 2 on the depth chart, and then I want to battle myself to be able to be number 1.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I don't know exactly how they're gonna moneyball this running back position, but I do think they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna need all of them.
Yeah.
They're gonna need
at some point.
Keelan Robinson. I think you're gonna need imagination and creativity with the running game. Just replacing, 2 backs that are as talented as Bijan and Rojo.
Yes, sir.
Who one of the most talented and productive tandems and duos we ever had in a Texas backfield. I think we saw in the Alamo Bowl how much you're going to miss those guys. The truth of it is we just don't, and I know a lot of Longhorn fans can see it right now in their mind, just visualizing and recalling some of these moments, how often a Bijan Robinson and a Rojo turned a negative play into a positive play. I mean, it happened. I would say it probably happened at least 5 to 6 times a game.
Yeah.
And you would say, oh, that's how our running backs do. It's like, yeah, but think about what those plays could have been disastrous for drives.
Yeah.
And a guy like Bijan would turn what could have been a 3 or 4 yard loss into an 8-9 yard gain. Hell, he's on a touchdown sometimes.
Yeah.
Because he's such a freak. And we saw in the Alamo Bowl, Texas running game missed that.
No doubt.
Those were the offensive line. It's a talented offensive line, and it's a veteran offensive line. But that offensive line really missed the ability of Rojo and of Bijan to essentially just break tackles and make something out of nothing and turn a negative play into a positive play. And I wonder about that running game this year. Now, the offensive line, I think it's going to be better. It's going to be a huge asset and a strength for Texas. But the truth is, the Alamo Bowl was to me, that's the prime example. Your first time seeing this offense without the training wheels of a Bijan and a Rojo.
Yep, you said that from the very beginning. It was like, this is what we're going to expect.
I said before the game, I was like, man, that's what I'm concerned about, is seeing that offense without those two elements. And that's what and Quinn Ewers looked better in the passing game. Maybe that's going to be the offensive identity that's going to be led with the passing game. They're going to pass to open up the run. But that running game, and give props to Washington, but it's much easier to neutralize and stop without Bijan and Rojo.
No doubt.
He's got to fix that.
He definitely has got to fix that.
Yeah.
So that's just something that Texas is going to have to battle with and look at and say, okay, what can we do for this type of game? And if they can go out there and figure out the running back position, because we already know the wide receiver room is so deep. And let's not forget, one of the names that we didn't even bring up was Savion Red in the running back room.
He is now back in the running back room.
You know what I'm saying? So that's another guy. And don't forget, he did play quarterback in high school. So that's another element of the Rojo effect. Not calling him Rojo, but I think he might be able to finally give us a halfback pass one time from the running back position.
Oh, man. It never happened.
Never happened.
I will say that he tried it. And Rojo tucked it. I forget what game it was. It was 2021. He did call it, and Rojo ended up tucking it and running it instead. He made a better decision because I guess he figured the guy wasn't open. So it was called at one time.
I'll let him have that.
Actually happened.
No.
The Rojo halfback pass.
Not at all.
Okay, before we get to the break, because I know we're up against it, I want to talk World Baseball Classic. That's coming up next with my man Harj here. Look at Power 5 running backs with at least 225 touches overall. That's rushes and receptions since 2015. So Power 5 running backs with at least 225 touches since 2015. And then you're looking at missed tackles forced per touch. Rojo is actually number one.
Yeah.
He's number one.
Him's been special
he's
for
number
a little
one.
bit, man.
Javonte Williams is number 2, and Bijan Robinson is number 3.
Yep.
That's how rare and elite their forced tackle or broken tackle ability is. Both between those two guys. It's just hard to replace that. So in the running game, to replace that I think you'll moneyball it with a lot of different skill sets, but they're going to need the imagination and the creativity and the innovation of Sark and Kyle Flood to really help, and the development also of those players to really propel the running game, because it's not going to be propelled with the training wheels and the elite ability of one Bijan and one Rojo. Two guys who may end up starting in the NFL before it's all said and done. Both of them. We know Bijan's going to start, but Rojo may end up being a starter too before it's all said and done.
I couldn't agree more, man.
It depends on where he lands.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. All right. So some Texas football conversation there. We'll talk baseball coming up. World Baseball Classic on the other side. We got to talk about it. We are thankful to have a hardball representative with my man Hardball Harj, a former major leaguer here. So we're going to break that down and talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
We're talking a little bit of hardball with hardball in just a little bit, but I want to talk about some activities in the baseball room. You know what I'm talking about. When you're out there and you want to be at the plate, you got to go up there and exude some confidence. You got to have that swagger. I need you to have that swagger in the bedroom as well. And holler at my friends over at Blue Chew. Go to BlueChew.com, and let me tell you a little bit about it. Blue Chew is a unique online service that you can get the same active ingredients as you would find in Viagra and Cialis. And I know sometimes we go out and we're looking around and we're like, ooh, if I get that one, this is what's going to happen. If I can holler at this one. Listen, this is what you need. You need the confidence so when you do get that call up to the big leagues, you want to be able to hit home runs. This is a performance enhancement for the bedroom so you can gain that extra confidence when it's time to perform. The best way to go about this is you can sign up at BlueChew.com. You will consult with one of their online licensed medical professionals. And once you get approved, you'll receive your prescription within 2 days. And the best part about it, you get a delivery to your front door in a discreet package. Nobody will know your business. This will be all you, and you will seem like a superstar when it's time to be a star. Do yourself a favor right now and go visit BlueChew.com. And here's a special offer for you. You can try it for free if you can use that promotional code HARDBALL at checkout. You'll just pay $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code HARDBALL to receive your first month free. Go on, hit a couple home runs for yourself. Use BlueChew.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. My man Patrick plays jam. So reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. I've never heard this song before.
Never heard this before?
Never, ever heard this song before. What is this?
Hard you ever heard this one before? Coming from military area? It's the Ballad of the Green Berets.
Oh, nice. All right. How old is this? What
It's in the 60s.
What era are we talking
it's
about
in the
here?
60s, in the early 60s, I believe.
All right, there you go. See, top of the charts Tuesday. That's why I love it. My favorite musically themed day of the week. Always
Learn something new.
broadening our horizons. It's
No
always
doubt.
a beautiful thing. All right, you can be a part of the show. Spec text line 512-337-3776. You also hit us up via Twitter. My man Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. And I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. It was a thrilling... dramatic end to the Mexico-Japan semifinal game in the World Baseball Classic. What was it, Harge? Bottom of the ninth, I believe it was. Shohei Ohtani, he led off and
With a double.
ended up leading off with a double.
Yeah.
And it was great drama because you let me know because you're more in the know when it comes to the baseball classic than I am. But when it was 5-4, bottom of the ninth, Shohei Ohtani was going to lead off. It was basically the three best hitters for Team Japan.
Absolutely.
In the bottom of the ninth.
This was
down
big.
1 inning.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was like
It
three
was-
best hitters on the team.
No doubt about it.
That's
And the funny part
fantastic.
about it is if you're listening to the game and you're watching the game, they were giving us the backstory about how great the guy that ended up hitting a double off the wall, about how great of a hitter he was
Yeah.
and what his record
I
of
hope I'll get the name right. Munetaka Murakami?
Murakami,
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and they're like, he is this, he's that. He's done all these great things for Japan baseball. And if there was anybody else besides Shohei at the plate, this is who you – I mean, most of the time that's like the kiss of death, right? It's the one where this guy is 98% from the free throw line, and then he clanks it off the backboard. This was so much drama, and the way that this game was going back and forth and all the great plays that were being made by the Mexican team, and it was just so much fun. And then all of a sudden – you come up and Shohei comes up and he laces a double. And let me just tell you, he was flying around the bases when he got I thought he was going to go 3 because his strides are so long. And we heard Gene Watson tell us he's the best athlete that he's seen play baseball in a very long time.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And you think about it, and they're like, he's as fast as you think he might be. He might be even faster. He's got so much power and all these great things. But the pinch runner, Shoto, that they put in at first base, he was trying to catch Shohei. As soon as that ball was in the gap, and that's another part
The
about
one
it.
after they walk Yoshida?
Yeah, and then they put in a pinch runner
Yeah.
because he was the game-winning run, obviously. And I didn't know he was that fast. I did not know he was
could
that
run,
fast.
as
He
Dion
could
said.
run.
He could run.
And it was one of those situations where your instincts kind of take over. You've already checked, and this is something that I talk about all the time, knowing your surroundings. So if you're on first base, and this is something that I've always taught players as we were growing up and as I was coaching these kids, I said, you before the pitch, take a look. When you get off the base, look at where the defense is set up. Look and see where the shortstop, the second baseman, first baseman, third baseman, but most importantly, check the outfielders because they will dictate and let you know if they can get to a ball, and you have to just trust yourself. Trust yourself because I don't want to have to coach you. I want to make sure that you understand where people are. And as soon as that ball was hit, Shohei was halfway in between second and third, and he was watching because he wanted to make sure that the ball was down. The runner on first was cooking. He was right behind Shohei. He was like, I'm running with you, dog. I'm scoring with you. I'm scoring with you. But it was so exciting. And the one thing, I had a bunch of buddies that were texting me during the game, the entire game, and I kept saying, people were saying, oh, man, this isn't even that fun. Have you seen these games? Like the passion that these guys play with, the fans that were in the stands, it was sold out again, and the excitement of it all. And Mexico thought they had it. They thought they had it. Randy Rosarina was out there in left field. He was swagged out. He was catching the ball off the fence, making great plays, and then he comes up and he hits a double the other way, and they score the runs. They score 2 runs, and you're thinking, oh, this is it. This is it for them. They're about to win this game. And then, Shohei was like in the dugout. They panned in the dugout. Shohei was like bobbing his head and was like, I'm coming up this inning, and I'm going to make it tough on people.
He definitely put on his cape. He went 2 of 4 in that game, and he also that double, which was kind of the game-winning.
The igniter.
They had started the rally. That was his 4th of the tournament. He's batting .450 now.
Yes, he is.
With 9 hits, 9 runs, 8 RBIs. If they end up winning it all, I mean, he will have a really good case for being the MVP of the tournament.
Well, he's going to be fighting with his
most outstanding player, whatever it may be.
He's going to be fighting with his left fielder because Yoshida hit the 3-run home run on a changeup that was down and in, and he's batting .474.
Yeah.
So he's up there making his own case for the MVP. But Shohei, they were asking him if he was going to be ready to pitch tonight, and I thought that he might be the starting pitcher. But he said if they need me to give them an inning or 2, I might be able to do that. But he said, I definitely want to give them a lead earlier because I'm going to be hitting in the lineup first.
He started last 5 days ago. He threw 71 pitches in Samurai Japan's quarterfinal victory against Italy. So never since he arrived in Major League Baseball has Ohtani thrown on 4 or fewer days rest, putting him in a position to foul Japan. So I think Harge is right there. He may end up pitching in relief.
Yes.
Right?
If they need him to come and close out a game or probably stop the bleeding, so to speak, and he'll come in and give you a couple innings. But he has to be able to stay in the lineup. So that's why he's trying to play it out, because if he's going to come in at DH, that's right.
He knows how important he is.
Exactly.
That's great drama right there.
Exactly.
And he may have the chance to pitch up against his own teammate, Mike Trout.
No doubt.
That'd be some great drama there as well. These Japanese baseball, and Harge, you obviously know about the Japanese baseball culture and how popular baseball is there. How about these numbers? Japan, if you go look at it, Japan versus Korea, they had 55+ million viewers for that one. Japan versus Italy, 62.5 million viewers. Hell, man, the World Series don't get close to that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so.
Last night they had 93 million viewers for that game last night.
No, there's a good chance USA Japan might be one of the most.
It's going to be the most watched baseball game
of all time
for sure.
I mean,
for sure, no doubt about it.
Just if you're thinking like, oh man, what is guys talking about this for? No, it is. It's huge, like internationally, and most true traditional baseball fans. This is a really big deal, and I love that. Basically, the way Japan, the storyline of that game was, they had never led, right?
No, they didn't lead until they walked them off. Yeah, they never had a lead in that game.
That's why Mexico was so confident.
Exactly.
And so it is. So basically, with Team Japan versus Team USA, how they played 3 times. This is the 4th time, and they've met in the WBC. Mm-hmm. The semifinal in 2017, USA won 2-1. Semifinal in 2009, Japan won 9-4. And the second round in 2006, that was USA won 4-3.
This will be the most watched matchup in the history of baseball. No doubt about it. I would put a mortgage on it right now.
Ooh.
because of the fact of where this game has gone and what we've seen throughout this. It would have been big if it would have been Mexico too versus the USA. But with Japan being involved,
man.
We had Brandon Phillips in here yesterday, and he was talking about this exact same thing about how the Japan and the Japanese league, how disciplined and how structured they are about their work. That this is something too, because it's the battle of USA versus Japan.
Oh, man.
This is what it's
really
all
is.
about,
I'm with
especially
you.
when it comes to this type of sport. This is going to be a fun game. And I love the fact of what you said, where we might have a showdown with Shohei versus Trout to figure out what's going on here.
So if Team USA wins, they won last time, right? So they would be the second ever back-to-back WBC champions, joining Japan.
Japan, exactly.
Because Japan did it, the 06-09 version of it, and that would be if Japan wins, because Japan is currently undefeated.
Yep.
So they would be the second ever undefeated WBC champ, joining. Oh man, I forget. Is it Dominican? I don't know. 2013.
It might be the Dominican, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Okay. Also, the only two-time champion, Japan can be a third. They can go three. Be a three-time champion, and so there's a ton of great storylines just kind of baked in to the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, and again, this is something too. We've talked about Trey Turner and what he's meant to the United States baseball team. Don't forget, we got Texas State's own Paul Goldschmidt that is playing for Team USA as well. This is a great opportunity for this baseball team, and I'm telling you, there's nothing better than the drama than what we saw last night. The drama was so good, to your point of what you said. They didn't lead until the walk-off. They did not lead until
and
the
then
walk-off.
look how it ended with your three best batters coming up in the ninth, down by one. It's like, who scripted this?
And it's a beautiful thing.
I would say that they've done a good job. I always say that the best thing about sports storylines is you got to have a villain, and the international matchups, there's a baked-in villain just because there's so much patriotism that everybody is feeling at the time.
Yep.
Whoever's going against your country is the villain.
No doubt.
It's about my country, my people, our culture, our brand of baseball, whatever it may be. And they did a really good job this year with the World Baseball Classic.
Oh my goodness, and the pageantry that goes to it with the fans and how excited
I'm looking
they
forward
get.
to it.
All the noise that's out there. They're screaming the entire time, and every pitch matters in this situation because it's like what we were talking about yesterday about World Cup. People care because they're playing for their country. They're representing their country. And now you get a chance for these two powers to go at each other and let you know who's going to be the best when it comes to baseball in the world.
You want to know why baseball needs this? And Major League Baseball is probably mostly what I'm talking about or thinking about here, but I think internationally baseball needs this too.
Yep.
If you look at the most watched television programs in America, say the 100 most watched television programs in America in 2022, how many of them do you think were baseball broadcasts?
None.
You would be right.
Yeah, I was going to say none. What Brandon tell us yesterday?
Zero.
Bored.
Zero.
Yeah. None of them.
But the NBA's got their problem too because the NBA had zero as well.
Yeah. It's all football.
The NBA, Major League Baseball, had zero. The NFL had 82. 82 of the top 100 watched telecasts or broadcasts in America in 2022 were NFL games.
Shocked.
And I think college football had 5. So 87 of them were football. 87 of the 100 were football. Yeah. And actually, March Madness, March Madness
for sure.
snuck in there, I believe, with a couple as well. So give March Madness some credit. But the NBA, Major League Baseball, get nothing.
Yep.
So that's why it is really big that this World Baseball Classic is getting so much attention, and it's got so many great storylines, and it's building drama. Baseball needs it. It really does.
And Shohei has been cleared to pitch 1 inning tonight. Phil Nevin, the manager of the Angels, gave the World Baseball Classic a chance, and they said he's cleared to pitch 1 inning tonight.
That's good.
Yep. And it might be the one to close out the game.
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that'd be fantastic if they could make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, a little World Baseball Classic conversation there for you. We come back, we'll get into the flex on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday. We play jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. This is a very soothing, melancholy jam here. I feel
It fits the mood of
It
today.
does fit the mood a little bit. I'm with you. You trying to go with the weather?
Well, no, I mean, this is also like one of Neil Young's biggest songs.
Okay, well, there you
I mean,
go.
it's a very famous song.
Okay, this is how deep you're getting, Patrick. Okay, and I don't know if this is, this is good, but just let you know that Patrick's kind of deep thought he puts into our musically themed days, it actually does matter to people. Texture says, my dad was a Green Beret in Vietnam. That song you played,
The Battle of the Green Berets.
he said, brought tears to my eyes. Played this all the time.
Nice.
I thought it was corny, but it means so much now. R.I.P.
Yep, that's
Shout
good.
out. And thanks Pop for his service on that one for
Nice.
sure. So Patrick, you're getting the people, man. You're getting people emotional around here.
You do a damn good job
You're
with
getting
that
people
music.
emotional around here, man.
Yeah.
You put so much thought into it. Another texture says, Rob, there was a movie made called The Green Beret starring John Wayne and a cast of many stars. Even Don Pryor's dad was in that, and that's when the song made its debut. Oh, so we learned a factoid. Is that Craig Wade texting in? Who is that?
That might be
Greg Wade
because he'll
texted
drop
in
a drop a
factoid.
nugget on
Someone else came in about how the singer of it met his untimely demise, apparently.
What?
That apparently, I don't know if he was assassinated or what, but apparently was shot.
You learned that on the Specs text line too?
Specs text line put that one up there too.
Wow. Okay, Specs text line.
There-
Thank you.
Y'all
I-
doing too much.
Yeah, hey,
Round of
expanding
applause.
our horizons out there. It's a beautiful thing. But thank you guys. Specs Text on 512-337-3776. And thanks to Patrick for putting in the hard work for us. FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. There is a Flex show scheduled for tomorrow. All right,
Yep,
we haven't
yep.
had the Flex in a while because of our obligations for Texas baseball, Texas basketball. But the Flex is back, and tomorrow it will be right after Ball Don't Lie is done. We'll have the Flex crew, and they will have a great broadcast. As a matter of fact, they already have put up a special guest that they are expecting, Bryce Hager.
Ooh.
He's going to join them already. Boom. You can go find out details about the other Wednesday night Flex coming up tomorrow on FLXATX.com.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out.
All right.
Right. And isn't he, I thought he was getting into some acting or something, right? Was that him?
That's Brecken.
That's Brecken.
Yeah.
Get my Hagers mixed.
Yeah, you get them all mixed up, dog.
Sorry, all those Hagers look alike to me. I'm not gonna lie, all those Hagers
All
look
them
alike.
Hagers.
All those Hagers look alike. Hey, don't sit on those Specs text line jokes, okay? I was just joking. Don't be trying to joke with that either.
You know they gonna push them buttons.
I know
dog.
they will be.
They gonna push them buttons.
I know. The Specs text line loves to push a button. All right, we'll come back. We'll get FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. Oh, as a matter of fact, there's some Flex family playing tonight.
There is
in
some
Texas
Flex
game,
family.
right? Texas
They
is
got-
playing Incarnate Word.
Yeah, they're playing Incarnate Word. Relief pitcher Larry Westel, who pitched at Round Rock as a junior, 6'4", right-handed pitcher. He might get some love here tonight and get an opportunity to pitch, but he is part of the Flex family.
Oh wow! So, how about this? See, Burnt Orange Yeti sent it in for us. Barry Allen Sadler. He served as a Green Beret medic, achieving the rank of staff sergeant. Served in the Vietnam War from late '64 to '65 in May of '65. Most of his work has a military theme. He is best known for his patriotic ballad of the Green Berets.
There it is.
A #1 hit in 1966. Died tragically at the age of 49 after being shot in Guatemala City. Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, here you go, man. We're learning a lot, and a lot of it is sad and tragic, but still, hey, you got to learn a lot, man. I like that. I like
Right.
the education.
Educate us.
Feel like Craig Way was on this show. They learned a lot of random factoids. I appreciate that. In my, you know what? I'll come back on that. I don't want to dive deep into it. I don't want to get that.
'Cause ain't
deep
no
into
telling when my
Yeah,
man gonna
man.
go with
We're
it.
up against it, and then we go deep down the rabbit hole. Maybe there's something we can dive into on the side. All right, coming up next, we got to talk about the Cowboys. Cowboys have been making moves. Literally,
Major.
as the show's been on, the Cowboys have already made another move. So
Thank
we got to
you.
talk about
Preach
the
on it.
Cowboys moves. The Texans are making moves. Roger Goodell getting extension. How about this? Roger Goodell's extension, at least the approval, the authorization to negotiate an extension, was a 31 to 1 vote by the 32 owners. You have any idea who dissenting vote might have been?
Are you leaving it open-ended, or are we going to bring it back? Because I'll tell you who it is.
Don't tell me. I know. We all know who it is.
Jerry Jones.
Hey,
Jerry Jones
Jerry
does
Jones?
not like Roger
It ain't
Goodell.
Jerry Jones.
He does not.
Well, there's somebody who's kicking out of the dang league.
Oh, it might
You don't
be.
think Dan Snyder is
it might
voting for
be
this
Dan
guy?
Snyder.
Dan Snyder's like, are you kicking me out of the league? I ain't voting for you.
That might be true.
It could be. I think Pro Football Talk said it was Jerry Jones, but I don't
It
know.
might be. I'm just saying, Dan Snyder getting kicked out of the league by the guy and vote for him? He ain't that likable.
First of all, we know Dan Snyder ain't voting himself.
Yeah,
Somebody's voting in his proxy
Yeah.
or something like that, right?
No
Can we get agree on that too? Anyway, all right. And shout out to my man Nate Boyer. So we're talking Green Berets. Is he
Yes,
a
sir.
Green Beret?
He is a Green Beret.
Isn't Nate Boyer a Green Beret?
Yes, he is.
Shout out to Green Berets. We're talking about the greatness of the Green Berets. All right, we
Absolutely.
come back. We'll get into NFL news, notes, and nuggets right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here, and let me tell you about my friends, your friends too, over at Twin Peaks, because we know it is tournament time. The madness of March has taken over, and if you're looking for somewhere to engage in the madness and enjoy all the madness, you can do it at Twin Peaks. It is a great sports bar, but so much more than just a sports bar. I love it because not only do they have TVs everywhere, they also have great food. We're talking about one of the best menus out there, folks, a scratch menu. Every delicious dish on the menu is made from scratch. So if you're thinking about a new favorite spot for lunch, dinner, or those late night eats, don't forget about Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is a great place also to enjoy happy hour. It's back and better than ever at your local Twin Peaks. That's right, folks. You can enjoy one of the best happy hours in the city. I'm a big fan of it, and you will be too. 2 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can enjoy sweet deals like $1 off all wine, liquor, cheap shots, and freezing cold 29-degree draft brews. And if you're feeling a little snacky, a little peckish, you can enjoy select appetizers for $2, $4, and $6. And if you're a night owl like I am, you'll love the late night eats at Twin Peaks. So much to enjoy at your local Twin Peaks. And don't forget, tomorrow's Wednesdays, hump days at Twin Peaks. They have a great special going on because they all about enjoying hockey headquarters right there at Twin Peaks, your local Twin Peaks. You can enjoy all the NHL action at your local Twin Peaks, and they have lots of swag you can score there from our authentic jerseys, but also lots of specials as well for their hockey nights at your hockey headquarters on Wednesday nights at Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn, top of the charts Tuesday. I told Patrick he puts way too much thought into these musically themed days, and it'll force you to go down a rabbit hole, something dark. We had a texter who was brought to tears because he brought back memories and nostalgia, thinking about his dad and that song. And if you go down rabbit holing about the creator of that, with the Green Beret ballad, what was it?
The Ballad of the Green Berets, yeah.
Whew. Yes, exactly, Patrick. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, way too deep on a Tuesday, man.
I just remembered the song from my childhood.
You didn't know the background?
I did not know all of the background. No.
Well,
I knew the song because my grandfather was in the military.
Wow. Well, Google it, guys. We're not gonna get into it, but we got into it a little bit. But we only hit the tip of the iceberg, the surface of that damn thing, and it's. Wow, it's dark. It's a dark, dark rabbit hole. Just warning there. Anyway, the Dallas Cowboys, right now, not a dark, dark rabbit hole. Usually, it's kind of a dark rabbit hole, deep diving about the Cowboys, but not this offseason. If anybody could have won the offseason, you would think it would be these Dallas Cowboys. They've made some moves. We'll talk about those moves coming up here in just a second. You can be a part of the show. Specs text on 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. My man Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis, real MVP. It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, how about this, man? How about them Cowboys and the moves they're made? So even as we have started the show, Cowboys have made another move.
Talk about it.
They re-signed Dante Fowler. He's back with the Dallas Cowboys. They signed to a one-year deal, so nothing special. He signs a one-year deal, and remember he had 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. Dan Quinn likes him because Dan Quinn has a history with Dante Fowler going all the way back to his time at Florida. Yep. When Dan Quinn was there at Florida with him. So he likes Fowler, always has, and Fowler has actually had played some of his best football now under Dan Quinn. And prior to this Dante Fowler move, remember we had told you that the Cowboys signed Ronald Jones, running back, to a deal as well. And they now have the running back position at least addressed. They also have now at least addressed, defensive end, edge rusher. I think the only position that is of any need that you can throw out there as a need for the Cowboys would be interior D-line, because they traded for Jonathan Hankins, and Jonathan Hankins is now a free agent. But I think Oza Odigizua, remember Odigizua had a hell of a season. Yeah. Odigizua was awesome. Odigizua ended up having 26 defensive stops, 31 pressures, 4 sacks. He was great, but the Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, Serena Williams size, Cardi B size, Megan Thee Stallion size, but is that he's a great pass rusher. And the liability in this game is as a run stopper. He's going to get better as a run stopper, but you need a interior D lineman that can be a run stopper. Remember what I told you guys? Every house needs a plunger. I don't know where your plunger is. Some people keep it by the toilet. Some people keep it out in the garage. Some people keep it out in the back. Some people said, I don't want people to see this eyesore in my house, because people don't really brag about their plungers. But you need one, because when the fit hits the shan and you ain't got a toilet, literally, you ain't got a plunger, and your toilet's overflowing with whatever it's overflowing with, all right, you going to be crying and praying and wishing that you had a plunger. That essentially is what the run-stuffing, kind of double-team taking, gap-clogging defensive tackle is these days. Jonathan Hankins was there for the Cowboys. They had to trade to go get one. The Eagles have to trade to go get 2 as well. They traded to go get Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph. They also they drafted Jordan Davis. So they had 3 of them. Some people, you need more than one plunger in the house. You may need one in every bathroom. That's what the Cowboys need right now at that D tackle. Every team needs one, by the way. We were talking on Longhorn Blitz about Keandre Coburn, because every team needs a Coburn. Every team needs a plunger.
Cowboys.
And the Cowboys need one too. That's why they traded for Jonathan Hankins. They may re-sign him, but if they don't, they can go get Keandre Coburn. My man Jeff Howe told me Keandre Coburn told him he's visited with almost all the teams in the league. Why? Because every team needs a Coburn. Like every house needs a plunger. And the NFL that's built on the zone blocking run scheme, sideline to sideline, everybody's built on speed. Everybody's built on chasing down those gaps as they're created to stretch you horizontally. Well, the counter for offenses is they go counter, literally, and power and gap schemes right at you, and teams can't handle it. That's why the Eagles found out that they had an Achilles heel last season. So did the Cowboys with their rush defense. You better have that one player who can clog a damn gap and take a double team. And if you ain't got that, your defense is already exploitable, period.
Yep.
And the Eagles found it out, and so with the Cowboys. That is what they need to figure out next. That's Jonathan Hankins. They got to do that. But other than that, everything else they've done, I really like. Don't go to the grocery store hungry because you're going to end up buying way too much food. Don't go to the draft desperate because you're going to end up taking a position that you really don't need. You're going to end up hurting yourself rather than helping yourself. Cowboys, they will go into this draft without a need at any position if they address interior defensive tackle.
And Ed Werder and a couple other people are reporting that the next priority for the Cowboys in re-signing a free agent is Hankins.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have not done a deal yet, but that is the report, is that they are working on that deal currently.
Who the
Absolutely.
hell is running this Cowboys offseason? This is not Jerry Jones and Steven Jones.
No.
Something is happening here.
They
This
finally
invasion of
did
the
they-
body snatchers.
Did they probably let Will Clay finally have this
Are they,
hit?
is,
Are they
is
letting him
Jerry
do
is
it?
Jerry on the yacht and they don't have a cell phone connection? He's gonna come back
he's
and be
letting
mad.
him. You know,
It's
Jerry, he brought the tower with him. Jerry's got that tower, his cell phone tower connected
You're right.
to
He's
his
got one on the yacht.
He's got it
one
on the yacht.
It's a mini
He
tower.
called the right people and put it on the
He's got a
yacht.
satellite cell phone.
But I also want to make sure that, it doesn't go under the radar as well. We've been talking about the running back position. Malik Davis is still there. They just signed Ronald Jones. Obviously, Tony Pollard has the franchise tag. They also re-signed Rico Dowdle. He's back with them as well. That was one that they did earlier today that nobody's really talking about because why would we? But they have another running back that is in the fray as well. They still have Will Grier as the backup to Cooper Rush. I know everybody remembers him from West Virginia. He's still part of the Dallas Cowboys too. But I 100% agree with you. I love the fact that they got back Dante Fowler. But the main thing is, Patrick just pointed out, and you were talking about it previously, the fact that you're going to try to get that run stopper in the middle, and I still think you draft one. You're going to have room later in the draft to be able to do that, to bring somebody that can be educated by these older players and get their opportunity a little bit later and possibly make an impact some point this year. But if you can go and get one right now, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I think they might end up getting the D tackle now, and they could get one late in the draft. Hell, that is, like I said, that's not Kendrick Coburn's per se, but it could be a guy that fits that, that skill set of a Kendrick Coburn. And, like you start looking at any other position where there is a express urgent need for the Cowboys. If I would go with a second option, it'd probably be O-line. Because I like what they've done with the O-line, but we don't know what's happening with Tyron Smith. Nobody's really sure about that. They don't have like an urgent need there, but if you just want to solidify and stabilize every position in the offseason going into the draft, I would go interior D tackle, Jonathan Hankins, as Patrick just mentioned. They're already thinking about addressing it. And I would probably go with an offense, you know what? I take that back. They did. They signed an offensive lineman. They signed Chuma Edoja.
Yep.
Yeah,
Today,
I
too.
take it back. They just signed him. My bad.
He's a
There you
swing
go.
guy.
Yeah, I swear I was just about to say I would sign a guy that can play multiple positions on the O-line.
Yeah, he's a swing guy.
They already signed one. They signed him. He was a third-round pick in 2019. He can play guard. He can play tackle.
He was hurt prior to this year, and that's why he's been able to bounce around. He was a third-round pick, so that's definitely a value person right there because everybody looked at him as a high draft pick. So if you could pick him up and place him in there to move him around, that's perfect.
Yeah.
They're being smart.
13 starts. I have no idea who's running the Cowboys right now. I would honestly, I don't know if there's a weekend at Bernie. Have we seen Jerry walking around? Is this not a weekend at Bernie's
I
or
did
something?
see a picture of him
Is it-
on the
is
boat.
him?
And he had
Is anybody like holding him up?
That might be.
What
might
is
be.
happening?
Well, no, because then we would have already heard that Jimmy Johnson's going in the Ring of Honor.
If that happens next, we know. Weekend at Jerry's. They are propping Jerry up. This is not real.
I think
if
what
he gets
happened-
inducted, yeah.
I think what happened was Jerry realized all these other billionaires are trying to be crazy, so now he's going to be sane to equal back out the billionaire pile because he was like, I've been the crazy billionaire for 20, 30 years now. You got to even it back out with all these other crazy billionaires now.
That theory is as plausible as any because I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys. This is very uncharacteristic of them, but it is. I don't know if a team's had a better offseason.
Right.
Give me a team that's had a better offseason than the Cowboys.
I think the Texans have done a really good
The
job
Texans
this
have
offseason.
done a good job.
I think they've done it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think they have done
Please
a
go
really
on.
good job with the way. And we were talking about this, and after we left yesterday, I was thinking about it a little bit more. We were talking about them making all the moves, the Texans, that is, that are making all these moves because they want to make sure that they protect the young quarterback that they're going to draft. But I think it's even more so. I think Caserio is looking at it and saying, okay, we had Lovie Smith, we had David Culley. Things didn't go out well. We had Bill O'Brien, and we've made a bunch of changes at our head coach's position. But now we need to make another position to make sure that everybody, including the young quarterback, but most importantly, DeMeco Ryans. This is a big step for him as well, and you don't want to put him in a situation where, regardless of how good of a coach we think DeMeco Ryans is on the defensive side, he wants to be a great head coach. So let's put enough pieces around him so at least he can go out there and compete. And that's the thing that I was looking at. So I would say they have done a really, really good job. Our man Wag says Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Miami, I like what Miami did about what they did to running backs. They just brought all their guys back and signed them, and they need them all. For Miami, defensively, they brought a couple of pieces in defensively.
Yep. P.J. Locke is on that team with Brandon Jones. They brought those people in. Think about that. They trying to build a thing down there in Miami with them Longhorns.
They need to. I mean, they have a chance. They thought last year third string quarterback playing, down to the wire with Buffalo.
Jalen Ramsey's down there.
Yeah, Buffalo in that game. They thought, man, they had a chance, even with a third-string quarterback to win the game potentially.
Yep.
I understand what they're doing. I like Miami. I think the Cowboys, though, I think they've had a better offseason
Not
than
P.J.
Miami.
Locke, Deshaun Elliott. Sorry about that. Deshaun Elliott, not P.J. Locke.
Yeah, he's still with the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
I
and
think
Jalen Ramsey, baby.
I think the Cowboys, other than misreading the running back market, that's my only criticism. I think they tragically misread the running back market. But even getting Ronald Jones 2 years ago, this is a guy that ended up averaging around, 5.1 yards per carry?
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the top 12 best running backs overall in the NFL 2 years ago, and I think the Cowboys are hoping they can get some of that. But you could have gotten so many good players: Rashad Penny, Deontay Foreman.
Deontay Foreman is the one that really hurt me. That was the one.
You could have gotten great players for really, really cheap at the running back position, and the Cowboys misread that market, and they end up with Ronald Jones. Nothing wrong with that, but like I said, you could have gotten way more value at the running back position than they did. So that's my only criticism. I like what Miami's done, like I said, but like I said, Cowboys, I don't know if they've had a better offseason than the Cowboys.
No.
I'm
with you on that.
Brandon Cooks for a fifth and a sixth, and the Texans are going to pay a third of the salary. And by the way, they just restructured him.
Yeah, and they
restructured Brandon Cooks again. They restructured Brandon Cooks again, and they basically took the $8 million of the $12 million they owed him, because the Texans were going to pay $6 of the $18 million, so that brings it down to $12 million. And they restructured $8 of that to basically turn it into a bonus for him, and they paid him basically in cash. And now he has a $4 million salary, and now he'll only count $6 million against the cap.
Mm-hmm.
So they get him even cheaper than they did before. This is a version of what my man Patrick always brings up, the cash over cap thing, where they basically decided, let's just pay a lot of cash up front for him. That way we're not linked to him at all. Like, it's a smaller number against the cap, but also we got no ties to him in 2024. It's basically a version of cash over cap.
We have our choice of if we want to keep him, depending on what he does this year, depending on who we draft and what we. But yeah, I think the Cowboys have put themselves. I think a lot of other guys have made good splash moves. I think the Lions had a good offseason too.
I like them.
I think the Cowboys, it's in comparison to every one of their other off seasons, they're winning on the fact that this is the off season where you're like, oh, they're fixing, like they're actually looking at their problems objectively and bringing in the right guys and trying to fill holes without just with a hope and a prayer in the draft that certain guys fall to them and they're able to put it together.
Like I said, it's a lot of things we've criticized about the Cowboys. I've criticized their inability to maximize the trade market, and they are overly invested in just the draft and undrafted free agents. They've made two of the savviest trades of the offseason by getting Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore for 2/5 and a 6th-round pick. They also got both of those guys at bargain basement deals. Now, base salary of both of those guys combined is going to be $16 million.
Yeah.
You go get Stephon Gilmore for $12 million. Just restructured the deal. Brandon Cooks down to $4 million base salary for him. So
that's how
deal.
bad he wanted to get out of there.
It is, but also they gave him cash up front. So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
But then they said them using cash over cap, something they were unwilling to do a couple of years ago when the Rams won the Super Bowl with that as one of their main methodologies. It's like I said, I don't know what to say. I'm flabbergasted, and I don't use that word a lot as a black man. I'm flabbergasted. I'm dumbstruck by what they've done. This doesn't look like the Dallas Cowboys, and it's uncharacteristic of them in a really, really good way that they are maximizing all of these other avenues to acquire talent, but also to seek value. Yep. Cash over cap, the trade market. Like I said, if they wouldn't have misread the running back market, they'd be in the midst of having damn near a perfect offseason. In my opinion.
But sometimes you can't. That's just like going over there and saying, "Hey, man, he's throwing a no-hitter," and then all of a sudden you jinxed them. So it's okay. They had one mess up. They didn't throw a perfect game. They made some other things happen. I'm being very, very pleased with the way that they are handling this offseason. As you said, this may be weekend at Bernie's, weekend at Jerry's, right, but I'm going to ride with it and do everything I possibly can because I've not been this excited during the offseason ever.
They even played the Dalton Schultz thing brilliantly.
Exactly.
He should have went back to the Cowboys and say, "Hey, I'll take that 3-year. What they offer him? 3 years, $12 million a year."
He was mad, man,
I'll
because of his emotion. He got emotional with it. He was like, "They didn't want to give me the money, and now no one is giving you the money."
Didn't you send me the tweet that the deal that we thought 1 year, $9 million is not actually even that?
It's not even
for
that.
Dalton Schultz.
Nope.
Right? Because it's not all guaranteed.
No, it's worse.
It's like a third of that is incentive based.
It is worse.
Is it a third of that incentive based or like half of it incentive based?
It's worse the deal.
A third of it incentive based?
Yeah, I think it was like 6.25 guaranteed and 2.75 in incentives.
He should have ran back to the Cowboys and say, that 3-year, $36 million deal, I will take it. As a matter of fact, I will take 3 years, $30 million. I'll give you a discount.
Right.
Because he just got shafted. I mean, that's crazy.
Hey, I'm going to, in about the 3rd round, you're going to feel a sting. Don't worry about it. That's pride. That's pride messing with you. Marcellus Wallace is Jerry Jones right now.
It is.
In about the 5th round, you're going to feel a sting. Don't worry about it. That's your pride messing with you.
It was.
Go ahead and take this money.
You going to play for the Texans?
Exactly.
You going to let the Texans get a deal on you? The Texans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a great deal for the Texans, by the way. I love that.
There it is.
And the Texans also are assigning a center, Michael Dieter. He was a backup mostly, but here's the kicker. He worked in Mike McDaniel's system there in Miami, which is the zone blocking system that Bobby Slowick wants to run because they were both under the Shanahan clan there in San Francisco at one time. So they want to run the same system, and this guy knows how to run those zone blocking concepts that Mike McDaniel ran in Miami because he was there as a backup center/guard. And a lot of people think that he can compete with Scott Quisenberry for the starting spot.
Yep.
I would say this: the Texans O-line. I never thought I'd say this. Texans O-line looks pretty damn good right now.
It's beefing up.
You got
man.
Laramie Tunsil, a guy who allowed 1 sack all season long. He allowed 1 sack all season long. So you got Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line. At the other tackle, you have Titus Howard. Those are 2 first-round picks. Shaq Mason at guard. Hell, Shaq Mason didn't allow a sack at all in 2022. He's only allowed more than 1 sack. I believe going back to 2017 was the last time he allowed more than 1 sack. I mean, He's been fantastic. So your offensive line now ain't got Kenyon Green. First-round pick.
Kenyon Green, that's right.
You got 4 first-round picks on the O-line, essentially. Sorry, 3 first-round picks on the O-line.
Yep.
Oh, I guess if you include Laramie Tunsil and what you gave up for him, you have 4 first-round picks. But you got 3 actual first-round drafted players on the O-line.
Doing it big, baby.
Patrick's coming back to the Texans.
Yeah, Patrick is. What'd you say? I've been stalking my ass.
I've been cyber stalking him. He's been looking at this.
He's coming back. I know he is. I can tell.
Hey, and Patrick, I would enjoy you being back there because Rod wants a friend.
Look,
Rod needs a friend
I-
with him.
Come on back, baby.
I'm looking at it. I got to see this draft though. Because if they draft a defensive lineman,
Oh,
I mean that second pick,
Man.
ugh. I'm with you. I'd be disgusted by it.
and so I can't because I've been hurt too many times.
Yep.
If you're gonna draft a D lineman, trade down. If you're gonna draft, I don't got no problem drafting D lineman. Trade down and get value in the picks. Get more picks then, and then you can go off your quarterback next season. But if you draft a D lineman with a number 2 overall pick, that to me shows mismanagement. That's malpractice, front office malpractice in my opinion.
No
'Cause
doubt.
there's no D lineman in my opinion worth that pick in this draft.
Yep.
No. I know people are big on Will Anderson, but we saw him all season not look good, especially not without a good interior D line at Alabama this year.
Yeah.
He looked like less able to do it when he was taking on more double teams and when he was taking on more of the pressure. I mean, Carter, I don't know if he's that guy either.
Oh, you say he came in out of shape for the workout?
Came in out of shape. He's got some baggage on him right now.
That means that he was tanking. He was tanking. He don't want to go there.
Oh, you think
I think so. I think he might be
Hey,
interesting.
he better watch out if he tanks too much. He's falling to 12 and he's still going there.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true.
At a much better value, and I'd be fine with that. I'd
Yeah.
love that. All right, Hart, what you got coming up on Harsh Knock Life?
I'm gonna talk a little bit about this Texas baseball team. I know that we're getting close to it. I had a chance to call all 3 games against New Orleans, and I want to shine the light on a couple players that are starting to really, really heat up.
Ooh, are we drinking Kool-Aid for Texas baseball yet?
Nah, bro. Nah, bro.
No Kool-Aid drinking, but also
But
no,
I'm very-
no panic buttons.
No panic buttons.
No panic
Not
buttons.
at all.
No Kool-Aid. We're in between
Not yet.
here. All right.
We're drifting. We're drifting a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we'll have the hardball conversation about Texas baseball coming up next on Harsh Knock Life right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Welcome back to the Top of the Charts Tuesday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Hard. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers, and you can follow the man who's in charge of all of our themes at It's Patrick Davis. We love it when you're a part of the show. You can hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. And it's kind of funny because I've been getting all these text messages and on the Specs text line and on my phone talking about making sure y'all get some Blue Chew. I want y'all to have confidence. So I want y'all to perform at a very high level because even if you got swag, there's nothing wrong with enhancing your performance. I promise you that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this Texas baseball team because they have enhanced their performance over the last couple of weeks. They've been on this homestand where they're 10-0 on this 14-game homestand. And I know a lot of people have always been talking about who they've been playing and how they're going about their business. But I want y'all to truly, truly understand that when you're playing in games like this and you're getting an opportunity to find your rhythm, everybody's been very critical of what they were looking like after they got back from Arlington, which I was there. I got a chance to see it. And I said that if you go back and you look at those games, the Texas baseball team put themselves in positions to win those games. Against Arkansas, they lost 3-2. Against Missouri, who, by the way, beat Tennessee this past weekend in conference play. Missouri beat Tennessee, the number 2 ranked team, 2 games this weekend. They lost to them 6-5, and the only game that they really got beat was 12-2 against Vanderbilt, who at that time was number 10. But here's the reason they got beat. They made a bunch of errors during that time. Remember, I was like, man, this is too much because of the way that they've been booting balls, and it was a lot of young players, and that is why Travis Staley, who, by the way, has been pitching pretty good, he pitched really good his last outing, I wanted to say, I'm like, that was the only game. Then they came home and played Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They beat them 12-2. They played a good series against Indiana where they won the first game 4-2, second game 5-2, and then they lost the game on the getaway day 4-2 to Indiana. They played a tough game against LSU where that home run, they're still the number 1 team in the nation, and it came down to one mistake at the end of the game. Dude hit a home run, and they ended up losing that game 3-0 in the 9th inning. So they were in the game, and the problem that they were having when they went out to Cal State Fullerton, they lost in 11 innings on that Sunday, 5-4. It was 11 innings. This team was in every single ball game. Then they come home and play this homestand. And I do want to say this, the pitching staff, although people are going to say, well, they played North Dakota State, New Orleans, they played Mercer, and they played Manhattan. Doesn't matter, because if they'd have lost that, y'all would have been pissed off. Y'all have been, he needs to go. This is a terrible baseball team. But instead, they go out there and win, and then all of a sudden you're saying, well, they're not playing anybody. It's like, what do you want? They just went and played against the top 10 team, and then they come back here and play well. So that is what we expected. And what did I tell you? I said they will be over 500 by the time this series is over. And now they're ready to go. And one of the things and the reason why they're having so much success is the top of their lineup. The top of their lineup has been doing so good, and Peyton Powell has been a breath of fresh air for me because he was somebody that I liked 2 years ago. I liked his approach. I liked his presence at the plate. The problem is he couldn't find a position because if you go back and you look at the team that Texas had, who was he going to replace? Because if he would have replaced somebody, y'all would have been like, why is he not playing? Why is this person not playing? Now, all of a sudden, he's getting his time at the plate. He's getting some extended at-bats. He's doing great things. He's moved up to the number 2 hole. He's playing third base now, and he is squaring up baseballs. But the big person that I wanted to talk about right now is I wanted to give some love to Eric Kennedy right now. EK has been doing a great job in the leadoff position. He's put up big numbers. On Sunday, he went 3 for 3 with 2 home runs and a double, and he missed a home run. He would have had 3 home runs, but he missed it by like 5 feet. It hit the base of the wall, or else he would have had and he hit it to the deepest part of Dish Fault. Like, you see the center field wall, and it says 400. Well, in the gaps, it's 405. Man. And that's exactly where he hit it. He hit it 403. So he hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. But not only that, he's been drag bunting. He's been getting some infield hit. He's been patient. He's been setting the table for what's been happening. Over the last 5 games, he hit 550 with 5 home runs, 2 doubles, 10 RBIs, and 9 runs scored.
550?
550 for the week. And his numbers have jumped up every single time. And I know everybody, I was even one of those guys too that was worried, not really worried, but I was hoping that Dylan Campbell would get going because he's a vital part of the success that this team is going to have. Dylan has got his average up. A few weeks ago, before the homestand, Dylan was like hitting 149 or 159. Now he's all the way up to 234. And I know people are like, what? I'm like, y'all don't understand.
Exactly.
Those numbers are jumping exponentially. Yeah. And then I was talking about Peyton Powell. Peyton Powell is batting .439. He's 25 of 57, 6 doubles, and 3 home runs. But those balls that he have been hitting the entire time, and this goes to the same for Dylan Campbell. Dylan Campbell may not have the hits, but he has productive outs. And even Coach David Pierce talked to me about this in one of the post games. What people don't understand is he's doing the things that are being asked of him. The numbers may not say it, but all of his outs have been loud. They've been line drives. He's hit balls hard, and eventually things are going to happen. I want to give some love to Porter Brown. Porter Brown's been doing a really good job in the outfield. He's an experienced player that has made a difference on this team. Garrett Gumet, the catcher. At first I was really like, I don't know about this dude. I don't know if I'm going to like him behind the plate. But what he brings every single day, number one is experience. He brings a lot of positivity behind the plate, and he works really, really hard. And these guys look like they love playing with him, and he looks like he loves being a Texas Longhorn. And last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about the pitching staff. We've all talked about Lucas Gordon, preseason All-American, preseason All Big 12 pitcher, lefty. He's your Friday night guy. You got Travis Staley, who pitched on Saturday. That was probably the best game that I've seen him pitch the entire year. He had his changeup working. He was running that fastball up there about 94, 95. He touched 95 a couple times, but his changeup was so nasty. So imagine yourself at the plate. You're seeing a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, but then he hits you with an 80-mile-an-hour changeup.
Man.
I've never seen anybody change speeds that well. And not only that, he was throwing it for strikes. Like, people weren't having to swing at it. They were just being fooled because it was like Bugs Bunny. It was like, I'm looking at all these fastballs, and then I'm throwing this changeup to you. So it's like, man, they started doing better. LeBaron Johnson, he finally got moved to the weekend. I told you that's what I thought was going to end up happening because his starts were just so good. I'm like, when conference comes around, he's going to end up being on the weekend. And here we are. He's not pitching tonight. Charlie Hurley's going to pitch tonight, the kid that transferred in from LSU as well. He's going to get the start tonight, which makes it even more so that LeBaron is going to get the first weekend start. Whether it's going to be Saturday or Sunday, this pitching staff is starting to understand their roles as the game is unwinding. So I know that people are going to always kind of question what the conference schedule. If you go back and look at what other teams, like Texas Tech is coming in this weekend, and that's where you're going to see a true test. Texas Tech played almost all of their games at home this year. So those numbers are a little bit elevated. And I heard Coach Ty talk about this. Ty Harrington was on with B&E this morning. The problem with Texas Tech, and they're a good baseball team, and they're always going to be ready to come into Texas, they haven't been fielding the ball as well. Texas, on the other hand, their fielding is getting better and better and better each game. So being comfortable at home, being able to sleep in your own bed, it's not to be mistaken. It is definitely a good piece of it. But this team is playing solid baseball, and they're doing some of the other things that I thought they were going to be able to do. Bunt, hit and run, move guys over, playing situational baseball, hitting the ball the other way, because we're never going to see those home run numbers again.
Yeah.
Understand that, people. If you go into the ballpark and you're thinking you're going to see a ton of blasts, even though I just gave you Dylan Campbell, Eric Kennedy, and Peyton Powell have all been hitting the ball out of the ballpark, don't expect to see those big numbers. You're going to see home runs, but you're not going to see them like we saw them last year. This is still a quality baseball team, and they are going to go out there and battle. And if the pitching is on point, they can play with anybody.
It's a good point. It's a good breakdown there too. I like that.
Yeah.
So what you're watching is this team's getting better because
This
guys
team
are
is
individually improving.
And guys are individually
Is that the
improving.
biggest reason for the run they're on? It's just individual improvement.
I like
guys?
to believe so because because again, this is a new team. These are guys that hadn't had the experience as much, except for the entire outfield. They're an experienced baseball team. You got a freshman at first base in Jared Thomas. You got a player in Jack O'Dowd who hadn't been playing that well from the very beginning. And, I mean, he hadn't had that many opportunities, and now he's getting those reps every single game because now he's the starting second baseman. You got Mitchell Daly, who was the starting second baseman for the last 2 years, that now has moved over to shortstop. You know, so he had to get comfortable throwing the ball across the infield again. And then you got Peyton Powell, who couldn't get on the field for the last few years, even though his bat has always been able to play, but he couldn't find a position. Now he's the starting third baseman. So they're starting to get comfortable with each other and being in the lineup every day. You know as well as I do. I mean, like when you talk about the safeties, if y'all aren't on communication together, it's a problem.
You're going to get beat.
Yeah,
Quick.
you're going to
Somebody's
get beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do believe I did say Hurley transferred from USC, not LSU. So I do understand that because him and Guillemette were together at USC. So this is a fun team, and they're making some changes that are trying to get ready for conference play. Because I told you when I got back watching Oklahoma's a fast baseball team. They're going to try to put pressure on you. And I think Texas needs to take that approach as well because you can't play for the big home run every game because you don't have those type of boppers.
Yeah.
You got some guys that'll hit it out of the park, but they're not going to the plate with that consistent thought of, I got an opportunity here to drive it out of the park.
Yeah, that was last year.
That was last year.
New
team.
Yeah, and this team, even though showing more power, that's not what they are. They gotta manufacture runs, and like you said, have to find a way to make some other plays on the base pads. I like that breakdown there. And Texas baseball coming up tonight. As a matter of fact, Incarnate Word, they'll be facing them tonight. That's why we're off early at 6:15. So you want to stick around for that. All right, we'll come back. We got Off the Record on the other side. We'll dive into a number of different topics, ton of different things thrown there and Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. A couple of pieces of audio here that I want to get to, college football-related audio. Okay, so first one is what some people are hinting and implying may have been a slight, or that Nick Saban may have taken a little shot at the Alabama basketball program and Nate Oates and his handling of the Brandon Miller situation. Everybody remembers famously, and by the way, he apologized for this comment and later, I think, said that he misspoke and used the wrong term and used the wrong phrasing, if you will. But at one time, when Brandon Miller was being investigated, I should say, or at least was being spoken to by police, or at least they were interviewing him, I should say. The coach, Nate Oates, talked about his situation and basically described it as a situation where he could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. We all remember this? In regards to Brandon Miller being involved with that murder of the young lady, Jamia Miller. What's her name, Jamia Miller, I believe? Yes, it was. Anyway. I don't think it was Miller, actually. That's her. Jamia was her name. I apologize if I didn't get her last name correct. But anyway, Nick Saban is punishing one of his own football players, and he is punishing him because he got arrested. We're not going to get into the details of it, but he has been suspended from all team activities as a result. The cornerback is Tony Mitchell. He's a freshman. And when Nick Saban was speaking to the media, Jamia Harris, thank you very much. Jamia Harris is her name. I apologize for missing that. When he was talking to the media about this situation with Tony Mitchell, his cornerback, who he's suspending from the team, some people believe that he may have kind of taken a little shot at the Alabama basketball program and Nate Oates. Here is Nick Saban.
Tony Mitchell has been suspended from the team and all team activities until we gather more information about the situation and what his legal circumstance is. And, guys, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You got to be responsible for who you're with, who you're around, and what you do, who you associate yourself with, and the situations that you put yourself in. So, it is what it is, but there is, cause and effect when you make, choices and decisions that put you in bad situations.
Intentional, deliberate, slight, taken at the
all
Alabama
of the above
basketball program. Yes,
I think it was all of the above. He wanted to go about it and let everybody know, I don't play them games. I don't have time for it. But here's the thing that is disappointing to me on that statement, if he was taking a dig at it. The player that he was with, the Brandon Miller was with a player on the basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a teammate of mine. So I understand that you may think that we were in the wrong place at the wrong time or whatever, or not going to go with that. But this is a guy that was on my team. So I'm going to kick it with my teammate. I didn't know that it went to that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we've all been around teammates that somebody that we don't know might not have liked that person, right? Or may not have liked you. I've been with people and they were like, man, I don't like Harge. And they were like, I'm gone. Or I would start some trash or whatever. But if y'all there together, it's like, that's my boy. That's my teammate. So I'm not finna leave him out there to be in the streets by himself. But my man ended up leaving anyway because he couldn't get into the club.
Well, and the police decided not to charge him.
Exactly.
With anything. I know. Right. People are like, listen, I understand.
We do get it.
Just because you are found not guilty does not make you innocent.
Hello.
I get that. So I'm not saying that the young man is innocent, but it did not rise to criminality, whatever his involvement might have been. Just and that's wrong place, wrong time. Even Nate Oates, he retracted that wording and was like, hey, that's the wrong wording. I shouldn't say that. So I think maybe Nick Saban's saying that the wrong place, wrong time, no such thing as that. It's all about the decisions that you make. And even Nate Oates agreed with that.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, Brandon Miller has not been charged and won't be charged.
Right.
That's not happening. And honestly, I think he's going to be drafted in the lottery of the NBA.
He will. He will.
That's probably really high. Okay, real quick, I want to get to this sound from Jimbo Fisher. We got a little time here. So the Aggies have started spring practice. And the Aggies have, they've decided, at least Jimbo Fisher has decided that he's going to hire an offensive coordinator. and he hired Bobby Petrino as his OC. There's a lot of discussion about who will be the actual play caller for the Aggies, Jimbo Fisher or Bobby Petrino. He was asked about it. Here's Jimbo's response.
Who makes the play calls? Would that be him or you?
Yeah, I mean, we'll go through that as we go.
Go back to the back.
Plan on him making calls. Plan on him calling plays. I have no problem with that at all.
Right side, back.
Okay, so I actually don't know. He's calling plays, but I don't know if he's a play caller.
Right.
We know based on that that he's going to call plays. We don't know if he's a play caller.
And we don't know how many plays he's going to be able to call.
We don't know. Some people saying this is Jimbo Fisher just being crazy and just being Boomhauer.
Yeah. Oh man, he is definitely Boomhauer. Where old Hank at? Where Hank? I'm going to be a Longhorn over there, right? I'll tell you.
From King of the Hill. But I think it's actually smart. If people know that Bobby Petrino is going to call the plays, there's a ton of film out there about what he believes in schematically, conceptually,
right,
and how his offense will look.
Right.
Nobody has any idea how the offense is going to look because it's going to be a hybrid of Jimbo Fisher's offense and Bobby Petrino, and we don't know who's calling the plays. That is a little bit of an advantage early on for A&M. Because he's going to figure out, is it Jimbo calling the plays? Because if it's Jimbo, we know how he's going to call it. If it's Bobby Petrino calling the plays, it's also going to be very different. So I think a little bit of gamesmanship, but also a little bit of Boomhauer. I mean,
that's definitely Boomhauer. That's
Jimbo.
100% Boomhauer.
Okay, let's get to
Hank.
Let's go behind the burnt orange curtain. Texas spring football starting up again post-spring break. We have Sark Audio. He met with the media. We'll talk about that, and we'll hear from Steve Sarkisian. Little basketball nuggets from Texas men's basketball headed to the Sweet 16, and the ladies with a disappointing showing last night, so their hopes and dreams are dashed. We'll talk about all that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Hart here. I want to talk about my friends over at the League Kitchen. The League Kitchen has 4 Austin area locations: Belterra, Lakeway, Bee Cave, and, of course, my favorite one, the Avery Ranch location. So hopefully you guys got a chance to go over there last night because they had the Burger Mondays. That way you get 2 burgers for the price of one. All of their burgers are made from scratch and ground in-house. So if you want to go over there and have it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, make sure you go over there and get some. And since we're talking about burgers, the March burger of the month is the Reuben Burger. This is made with a house beef patty, Thousand Island dressing, corned beef, Swiss, sauerkraut on a challah bun, and I know that will fill you up. I've been over there a couple times. My wife had the meatloaf that was outstanding. I had the pot pie. My kids had their own types of meals. They all enjoy the League Kitchen. Make sure you go to the League Kitchen and Tavern. There's 4 area locations. Lunch or dinner are just around the corner from you. So browse the menu and, of course, those monthly specials that are on LeagueKitchen.com. That's LeagueKitchen.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday. We play jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. Thanks to my man Patrick, who's DJing a top of the charts Tuesday. He's the Idealionaire. It's his idea. All the musically themed days of the week are his idea, and he does a great job for us, and we appreciate it. You can always be a part of the show. Hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. Harge is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse, and I'm at Rod Babers also in the Twitterverse. Before we out of here at 6:15 to give you up for Texas baseball versus Incarnate Word, we will talk about the latest in the Lamar Jackson updates. As a matter of fact, if we can't get to them coming up in the 6 o'clock, maybe a run out of time, I might get to them in Rod's Round the Day. I might hit them just a little bit. Or with the Cowboys news in Rod's Round the Day, save the Lamar Jackson updates for 6:05. And yes, there's been a strange, very weird update in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, but one that's expected considering he doesn't have an agent. So there you go.
Facts.
Yeah, right. It actually, now look at it, actually should have been expected considering he does not have an agent. He is his own agent. So we'll get to that NFL news, notes, and nuggets coming up. Roger Goodell also is getting an extension. Not all the owners are happy about it. We'll get into that one too. But let's talk Texas spring football first, gentlemen, because they started up their post-spring break practices. We did get 2 really good tidbits of information. Malik Murphy is back practicing with the QBs. Matter of fact, we'll hear from Steve Sarkisian talking about that. We played that cut for you earlier. And Jonathan Brooks also back practicing with the running backs. We'll get to both of those cuts of Sark talking about those 2 players. But there's another player who was also not necessarily back practicing, but he was seen by members of the media doing some drills and out there actually running some routes. I think he had his knee brace on, but he was still out there. Isaiah Nayor was out there as well. And that's a really good sign for the Longhorns offense is that he's out there. So here is Steve Sarkisian. He was talking to the media today. Here's him talking about a lot of the guys who are coming back from the injury. This was a big day. Like she had 3 different multiple players, really important players, projected starters coming back from injury. Malik Murphy, Jonathan Brooks. Here's him talking about Isaiah Nayor. Cut 3? Oh.
We're monitoring reps, obviously, but it was, again, good to get him. He looked as good as he's looked. And that's, I think his rehab has gone really well for him, not only physically, but mentally. Anytime you have surgery like that, as much as it is the physical rehab, it's the mental rehab. But I think that he's dialed into it. I think that, gradually working him back in at the rate that we're going is a good sign for where we need to be come the fall.
It's a good sign, and there are a lot of people that believe. I heard Josh Pate. Are you familiar with Josh Pate? Does a really good job covering college football.
Pate you,
yes. He does a really good job covering college football, and one of his hot takes for the offseason is he believes Texas has the potential to be the best wide receiving room in the country.
Yep.
With X-Men, with Jay Witt, bringing A.D. Mitchell over, throwing a healthier Isaiah Nayor. That's...
You're looking at Jonte Cook and what he's possibly capable of doing.
Great point about the young guys.
The young guys, Moore.
Yep.
He's in there. He's in the mix as well. So I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to hear it. But most importantly, I'm glad to see that Isaiah Nayor with his knee and him being able to go back to practice. And as Sark said, working him in slowly, just making sure that he's moving in the right direction so he can be ready for the season.
Yeah, and a healthy Xavier Worthy is going to be big too. Last year, I was just kind of looking at the regression, the precipitous drop-off in Xavier Worthy's production because of the hand injury we know about now. We won't get into why they were still force-feeding him the football with the hand injury. We've gone over that, and we beat that dead horse. But I went and looked at of the 30 most targeted FBS wide receivers out there, and this is FBS, so Power 5 and Group of 5. Xavier Worthy had the 3rd lowest completion percentage among that group. Completion rate when targeting him, 53.1%. He had the lowest single season receiving yards of that group with 760. 3rd lowest yards per target, 6.1 yards per target, and the fewest receiving yards per game of that group.
Yeah.
it was a, like I said, a precipitous drop off. And when you look at, and it's hard to put together because that was Quinn Ewers having his struggles when targeting Xavier Worthy, and then there was Xavier Worthy having his own individual struggles, and now we know the broken hand being a big part of that. And I remember Sark saying this too when they were asking Sark, what went wrong with the passing game, and maybe it was, I forget what game it was, maybe it was the Oklahoma State game, or maybe it was another game where he says in the post game it was always something different. So, one play would be Quinn Ewers making the wrong read. One play would be him making a bad throw. Then it'd be X-Man dropping the ball. Then it'd be another guy running the wrong route or running a bad route. Then it would be the pass block. And it was always a different variable that led to the regression of the passing game. And some stats back that up. You look at catchable ball rate. This is Sports Information Solutions. You look at catchable ball rate based on wide receiver-related incompletions. Quinn Ewers was number one in the country, 6.33% wide receiver-related incompletions.
Wow.
Yeah. If you look at catchable ball rate per Sports Info Solutions, Quinn Ewers, 120th in the country at catchable ball rate himself. So him just as a quarterback, catchable ball rate on his own, he was 120th. And if you looked at catchable ball rate and wide receiver-related incompletions, Quinn Ewers also was top in the country in wide receiver-related incompletions. So the wide receivers had their fault, and he had his fault in basically uncatchable balls. So they got a lot to fix in the passing game, and I think it has less to do with the O-line. Honestly, it had more to do with Quinn Ewers and his timing and his ability to throw open wide receivers within the construct of the offense.
Yeah.
So there you go. Random stats there. Been doing some deep diving.
Well, one of the things that I'm looking most to is a new and improved Quinn Ewers. We were talking earlier in the first hour about Malik Murphy being back and being out there pushing, and it's the same thing when you start looking at Arch Manning. You start looking at what Quinn Ewers went through last year, the fundamentals, and the same thing that you and I have been talking about for a very long time is making sure that you are fundamentally sound with your footwork and your base. And that is something, too, that this is the time for Quinn Ewers to make sure that he's getting all the coaching that he can possibly have so we don't have to look at that and say, oh, man, his footwork is getting bad again. We don't have time for him to work on it during the season. This is the time for him to make sure that his footwork is in the right place.
Totally agree. It's a great point. Speaking of quarterbacks, Malik Murphy, really good news. He is back practicing with the quarterbacks after being away from the team because of injury. Here is Steve Sarkisian, who was asked about Malik Murphy and his progress and how he's doing now battling back from that injury.
I think, I'll talk about Malik here real quick first. It was great to have Malik back out there. Again, he had a minor setback at the end of winter conditioning. We were probably a little bit conservative with him that first week, thinking, okay, if we back off him the first week of spring ball and give him spring break, then he can get back and be going back again here in the second week of spring ball. So that was positive to have him back out there. I think one key, and I know we like talking about the quarterback position, open competition is really healthy for everybody, right? Everybody should feel like, man, if I can push myself to perform at a higher level and ultimately push the guys around me, whether the guys in front of me on the depth chart or behind me, that everybody's play should step up. And it's easy to point to the quarterback competition. Every position's an open competition. I can't tell a guy right now, hey, at whatever position is, he's the starter regardless. Everybody should be striving to be the best that they can be. We've got a long way till we play, right, in September. So ultimately, yeah, can Malik push Quinn? Of course he can. How far can he take it? Quinn's job is to keep raising his level of play so he can't catch him, right? And that should be at every position across the board.
I agree with that.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about Malik Murphy now being added to the mix of the quarterbacks there and taking second string reps behind Quinn, and Arch is taking the third string reps?
I'm glad to see it. I'm glad he's back out there. I'm glad he's getting that opportunity. I'm glad he's being looked at as the possible backup quarterback. And I think this, too, goes to Sark's way of thinking because, remember, during the bowl practices, and we kept hearing about Jaden Blue, he's going to get a run. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. And I kept thinking Jonathan Brooks. We didn't know about his injury situation, so that obviously changed when he got to the game. But he started Keelan Robinson because he felt like that was a reward for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those types of things. So for me, I'm looking at it and saying, okay, maybe this is Sark's way of saying Malik has been working his butt off. He's done some things. He's been here. He knows the offense. This is his second year in it. Let me go ahead and move him, bump him to that second spot. Now Arch is over there looking like, hold up, man, I'm about to go out here and I'm about to take that second spot while Malik is trying to be the first spot. And Quinn's like, the hell with all of y'all. This is my spot, so don't worry about it. But again, you talked about this and you talked about your time on the 40 acres and where Rod B was in that room and looking around and saying, uh-oh, here comes some more players. I got to step my game up. I got to spend some more time on the film, making sure. And I'm going up against Roy Williams every day, Sloan Thomas, B.J. Johnson, and iron sharpens iron. I think competition is good. I think it's very important for all of these players that are involved. And I think Texas is now at that point where that room looks totally different than what we looked at a few years ago. This room looks totally different what we looked at it 5-6 years ago. Now we have legit competition in the quarterback room with some top-tier talent that we're like, okay, this is what Texas needs to look like, right?
No,
The
honestly,
look is there. They passed the eye test.
Yeah, no, in terms of quarterback talent, honestly, the truth is, it's just overall talent. I'm not talking about specific arm talent. I'm not talking about accolades. I'm just talking about just the ceiling of all these guys, because now you have Arch Manning, you got Quinn Ewers, and you got Malik Murphy, who's also got a really high ceiling as well. You know, I don't know if Texas had this much talent in the QB room overall than when they had, when Vince Young, Chris Sims, and like Chance Mock were all in the quarterback room. I know it sounds crazy, but those are all 5-star quarterbacks going back in recruiting. And these are all basically kind of 5-star caliber quarterbacks too. I know Malik Murphy wasn't officially a 5-star, but whatever. But I think they all have that kind of ceiling. And that's what Sark wants to be able to mold, is just kind of the raw materials of all these quarterbacks. And yes, they're all pocket passing quarterbacks, right? We know the type. Sark's got a type of quarterback that he likes. And now all these quarterbacks in this room are quarterbacks that are his type. Remember, Hudson Card wasn't his type of quarterback.
Right.
Neither was Casey Thompson. That wasn't his type, right? We know his types of quarterback. He wants pocket passing quarterbacks. I'm sure he's worked with other quarterbacks. We know that. But if you give him his preference, that's what he likes. And I think, like I said, if you give me my preference, you'll probably see I got a specific type of woman I like, whatever they may be. He's got a type that he likes, all right? I like big booty brunettes. But I'm saying, my point is, he likes these types of quarterbacks, and all these quarterbacks now are his types of QBs.
Right.
And
they fit the mold.
Yeah, and I don't care which one wins the backup quarterback. I think it's going to be a heated competition now, and I'm glad Malik Murphy and Arch Manning are going to fight it out. But you're going to need whoever wins that job, and that's why I'm glad they got the competition, because they're going to have to be ready to play. I hope, knock on wood, they don't have to play an extended period of time. Hope it's a game here or there. They got to play. But the truth is, last year in the Big 12 play, only one team, that was Iowa State, went the entire season without having to play their backup for injury concerns or for productivity concerns. And for Texas, since 1999, only 6 times have you had a quarterback start the entire year. So you're going to need that backup. I don't know when, and I don't know why, but you're going to need them.
No doubt.
So
we've seen it every time.
Yeah, get them ready to play.
Yeah.
Because we know it's almost a guarantee. Another guarantee is Texas going to run the rock. We know that with Steve Sarkisian. But he lost his best leader, which was a running back, and his best player, which was also a running back. Rojo and Bijan both gone, and they will be on NFL rosters next season. Here is Sark when he was asked about Jonathan Brooks returning. That's big. Remember, you talked about Jaden Blue and his contributions, at least what we thought possible contributions could be from him in the Alamo Bowl. Keelan Robinson, one of those guys that can be more of a utility or a hybrid player. And C.J. Baxter coming in, number 1 running back in the country. They need a workhorse, but I do think it'll be a collective kind of money ball approach to the running back position. So they're going to need all these bodies. Here is Sark talking about the return of Jonathan Brooks to that group.
I thought Jonathan looked good today. First day back. Obviously, coming off the surgery in the offseason. He looks strong. You can feel like his body's changing. Definitely a confident player. He's going into year 3. And that's a positive thing. That room has got great competition as well. We don't have Keelan out there yet, but to have Keelan and Jonathan and Blue and Cedric Baxter, Savion Red, that room's going to be solid. And we know there's going to be, a new face or two or whatever it looks like compared to what it looked like a year ago. So to have Jonathan back is a real positive for us.
There you go. And they're going to need him. Jonathan Brooks he's fantastic. I do think Jonathan Brooks is going to be a next level back. And I think
too.
CJ Baxter is going to be a next level back too. My only concern is losing the elite tackle breaking ability of a guy like Bijan Robinson Rojo.
Yeah.
Those guys can break tackles as well as anybody.
They were 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I went and looked at a stat, and I went and did some deep diving. If you would look at missed tackles forced per touch with running backs of at least 225 touches, Power 5 running backs only here, since 2015. So you're talking about, going all the way back to 2015. Rojo is number 1. And Javonte Williams at running back out of North Carolina, he's number 2. And Bijan Robinson is number 3. Going back to since 2015, these are the best running backs at breaking tackles. So I just don't think Texas, and I kept saying this before the bowl game, I don't think Texas fans are truly understood the impact of losing Rojo and Bijan and their elite ability to break tackles. We saw it in the bowl game.
Yeah.
All right, that offensive line, they really couldn't do anything in the running game because you did have a lot of injuries too because Jonathan Brooks ended up with an injury, and I don't think Keelan Robinson's built for that role to be a workhorse. But so many times, and I would say probably 5 to 8 times a game easily, a Rojo and a Bijan would turn a play that was a negative play and a minus play into not only a positive play but almost an explosive play at times. You missed that in the bowl game, and that's why your running game and Sark lacked the imagination, the creativity, innovation. Not saying he ain't got it. He's got it.
Yeah.
I expected him to get in his bag after Rojo and Bijan were going to miss the bowl game. He did not get in his bag at all. Maybe he left his bag somewhere else. Maybe he forgot his bag like I do when I go to HEB and I forget my bag and I got to go in there and get another bag. I don't know what the hell happened to his bag.
Maybe he forgot
in the bowl
it and
game.
left it on the plane like I did my wallet.
Maybe he forgot on the plane too. I don't know what. Maybe it was Steven out there and not Sark, and Steven don't have a bag and Sark's got the bag. I don't know what happened to his bag, but he did not get into his bag of tricks and innovative, creative cheat codes for Texas in the run game versus Washington without Bijan and Rojo. But I'm telling you right now, he's going to need them coming up this season. And if he comes to that lame, vanilla run game and expect the Rojo and Bijan to break it up like they did all last season or the season before that, then that is going to be a dang coaching mistake. You're going to need you're going to need a money ball approach. All these guys, Jay Brooks, Keelan Robinson, you're going to need Baxter, you're going to need Jaden Blue, you're going to need all of them, first of all. And you're also going to need a ton of innovative, creative run concepts, imaginative run concepts. If you don't get that from Sark, y'all going to be disappointed.
All y'all.
I guarantee it's going to look like that Alamo Bowl.
Right.
That's exactly what it was. I think Sark went to Alamo thinking, these are the concepts we run all the time. These are our bread and butter run plays. We're going to go out there, we're going to run what we run. O-line, y'all used to run it.
This
Y'all know
what
how to
we
block
do.
it. It's what we do.
Yeah.
Bullet ball, baby. It's like, no, it ain't bullet ball. It's Bijan ball.
Yeah.
It's Rojo ball. That was their damn ball. It ain't your ball.
Yeah.
You go get your bag of tricks that you forgot at the house.
Yeah.
All right? You bring that next time because we going to need that when we run the ball.
Oh,
All right,
I love it.
Random stuff
love it.
there. All right, random rant there. But that's what I think they're going to need. They're going to need a lot of imaginative concepts, innovative concepts. Sark's got that stuff, by the way.
he definitely
We've
does.
seen it already. We
Yep.
just need more of it.
Please bring it back.
Right?
Please bring it back.
All right. I was going to get into some more Sark sound. We can table that sound for tomorrow and get into Sark sound tomorrow.
No, bring it on, baby. Bring it
Well,
on.
He's got some stuff talking about the O-line,
Yeah, I got it.
DBs, linebackers. We
Yep.
want to do some deep dive into that stuff, so we'll do it tomorrow. We'll save some of that sound for tomorrow. Raj Ram today. I'm going to I've compared the Dallas Cowboys to a lot of different things. I'm going to make another comparison, something that is a trend with the Cowboys over the last decade. And I like the trend, but I'm going to compare them to one of my favorite retail locations.
Come on.
Actually, that I've gone to. If you're a ball on the budget, you will appreciate this too. And the Cowboys, if anybody's a ball on the budget, it's the Cowboys. Yeah, they ball on a budget. But Catboy, this offseason, he's doing his thing. So we'll talk about that when we come back. We'll get into that. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all know time is money. So do my friends over at Apple Leasing, and they want to be your friend too, because we all need a friend help us navigate this car market right now. It is crazy. It's one of the wildest car markets we've had in a long time, and my friends at Apple Leasing, they can help walk you through every step of it. Every step of the way, they will have your best interest in mind. They'll save you time, save you money, and find you the best value out there. Apple Leasing has the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. And all it takes is one phone call or a click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate of the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest easy lease makes life simple because it gives you a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best, because inflation is through the roof. It's more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car than ever before, and matter of fact, it's more expensive to buy anything than it's ever been before. So leasing actually makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing today at 512-346-9977 and let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts, all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back. Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. The Cowboys have a lot of tendencies as an organization, and some of them are bad tendencies as an organization. They have kind of, I always say, the bad behavioral patterns, bad habits as an organization. One of their habits as an organization that I actually like, that I think it's a good habit for them, is they're basically big-time ballers on the budget. The Cowboys are. Whether you're talking about Cat Boy, or you're talking about their inability or unwillingness to spend money in free agency, which is the most overvalued means of talent acquisition. They want to make sure they prioritize value and they're getting the most bang for their buck. That's why they love the draft. They love undrafted free agency. Their main ways to acquire talent and build a roster. And now they're finally getting into the trade market, because the trade market also is a great place, all right, to acquire value in terms of talent acquisition. But the Cowboys, for some reason, they hadn't really been utilizing the trade market. Now this offseason, they're utilizing the trade market. It's great. So I love that they are finally doing this. I hope they make that part of their behavioral pattern as an organization and make that a habit. One of their other habits is they love to take discounted talent for whatever reason and basically revitalize it, repurpose it, recycle it, refurbish it, whatever you want to call it. The Cowboys are really good at that, and they find value there. And some people say it could be because Jerry Jones, he loves the talented yet troubled soul. So oftentimes, whether it's a Randy Gregory or it's a Rolando McClain or it's a Pac-Man Jones, everybody else is giving up on this great talent because of the baggage. And Jerry's like, no. That player with that baggage, that's going to be a great value. We'll get him cheaper with the baggage.
Yep.
And it's happened before. You've gotten guys cheaper with that baggage and gotten some quality reps out of them, quality starts out of guys. So I think that's part of it, too. And that's one of their kind of organizational tendencies and habits. They do that. And like I said, sometimes they find value in that, sometimes they don't. But it's a nice little factoid. And I'll give, I think it was John Machota who threw it out there first. But the Cowboys have had 10 straight years where they've gotten another team's first-round pick. Where they've acquired another team's first-round pick, either via trade or via free agency signing. They've signed another team's former first-round pick. 2014, it was Rolando McClain, 8th overall pick in 2010. Also that year, they signed Brandon Wheaton, who was 22nd overall in 2012. 2015, they signed Darren McFadden, 4th overall in 2008. 2016, they signed Mark Sanchez, 5th overall in 2009. 2017, they signed Jonathan Cooper, who was 7th overall in 2013. They also signed Dayton Jones, who was 26th overall in 2013. 2018, it was Amari Cooper, 4th overall. They acquired him via trade. They traded for Trayvon Austin as well, 8th overall pick in 2013. They traded for Robert Quinn in 2019. He was great for the Cowboys. Ended up getting a big deal the next year. 14th overall in 2011. He was picked in 2020. It was Aldon Smith. Speaking of, the troubled yet talented soul, all right, the Cowboys love to take a chance on those guys. Aldon Smith, 7th overall pick in 2011. They acquired him in 2020. Also signed Joe McCoy, 3rd overall pick in 2010. They signed Datari Poe, who was the 11th overall pick in 2012. They also signed Cameron Irving, who was the 19th overall pick in 2015. And HaHa Clinton Dix, 21st overall pick in 2014. And 2021, they signed Malik Hooker, who was a 15th overall pick in 2017. And they signed Keanu Neal, who's a 17th overall pick in 2016. And in 2022, Dante Fowler, 3rd overall pick in 2015. They signed him. They signed Anthony Barrswell, who's the 9th overall pick in 2014. And don't forget Xavier Rhodes, late in the season, 25th overall pick in 2013. And Takaris McKinley, when they brought him in for the other cornerback spot, 26th overall pick in 2017. 2023,
there's some value.
We added again. Traded for Stephon Gilmore, 10th overall pick in 2012. And, of course, Brandon Cooks, who was the 20th overall pick in 2014. What it shows you is the Cowboys, who I've said, they're one of the top 5, top 10 best drafting teams in the NFL. They really are. We make fun of them and talk trash on them, but they really are. And I've given you the numbers. And if you look at undrafted free agents, All right, and they rank those classes. They also among top 5, top 10, depending on how you're grading them, of undrafted free agency classes every year. So they're a top 5, top 10 drafting undrafted free agent acquisition team in the NFL. Where they fail to find value is in the free agent market, but they don't want to find value there. As a matter of fact, they still have only re-signed their own free agents. We like our guys.
We
all right?
love them.
They're the most homegrown team in the NFL, so they don't want to go outside for free agents. They want to sign their own free agents, so we don't really count that. All right, that's their own free agents, but they've done a good job of re-signing those guys. And where they're now finding value is in the trade market, of course, and there is tremendous value there because teams want to get rid of bloated contracts for veteran players, and they're always looking to make room for younger, cheaper players. So there's always a team going, is that guy too damn expensive? Did he really give us enough production for what we're paying him? That complaint happens every year in the NFL with about a third of the teams. And all you got to do is find out who's a little disgruntled, either as from the player standpoint, right, Brandon Cooks, or from the team standpoint, the coach is Stephon Gilmore. We're paying him too much, and he's aging. He's getting old. Somebody feels like that guy's too old for that money, or there's a player out there who doesn't feel like he's being paid enough money he wants out. You got to find which one it is, either be it through the agent or through the exec and the team, and go to work. And the Cowboys are doing that right now, so give them props. And this is what I love about the Cowboys. This is one of the ways they find great value. And they trust their draft board is what it tells you. Right? When they have their draft board up, whether it's 5 years ago or whether it's 2 years ago, they're like, hey, this guy was high on our draft board. We'll take him. We'll bring him in because he was really high on our draft board. We like that guy. And they believe, whether it's with their training staff, we talked about they love their training staff. So they'll take a chance on a player who's an injury-riddled player. Remember what's his name? Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith. Yeah, that's why they took him in the second round.
They were like, no, nobody else can make it work, but our training staff will make it work. We'll find a bargain there. Discounted player, discounted skill set, we'll get value there. So whether it's a training staff or whether it's Jerry Jones believing they have a really good culture with the Cowboys and everybody deserves a second chance, and he'll take the troubled yet talented soul who also is discounted because nobody wants to pay for that baggage. But there's another way. You take first-round picks who have basically either been misevaluated, over-evaluated. They weren't scheme fits, new coach, different situation. Whatever reason it didn't work out, it didn't work out, okay? And the Cowboys, they're willing to take a chance on that player that didn't work out, that other team couldn't make it happen for whatever reason, scheme, coaching, over-evaluations, misevaluations. But Cowboys will make it work. And honestly, sometimes it does. Right. Sometimes it works out that way. Now, with the first-round picks, it kind of reminds me of, you get this when you try to take phones back in or computers back in. Like if you try to get a new computer or a new phone, they'll often ask you, do you want a brand new phone or do you want a refurbished phone?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, refurbished. And he's like, oh, what's refurbished? Well, refurbished means it was broken. It was broken. Then we repaired it, right? We recycled it, we repurposed, we refurbished it. Now it's brand new. It's like a brand new phone now.
Yep.
You can buy it, but you get it at a discount. You ain't got to pay the $1,000 for a brand new phone. You can get this one for like 60% off, or you can get this one for 30% of what a new phone costs you. All right, that's what you get. You can do it for laptops too. They'll tell you it's refurbished, and honestly, it still gives you problems, but it's still cheaper than buying something that's brand new. And that's what the Cowboys like to do. They like to go out and buy the refurbished phone, the refurbished laptop. Yeah, you gave up on it. It's your old laptop, or you dropped it, or you dropped your phone in water, took it back in. They told you, oh, we'll take it back. We'll give you a new one with the insurance, whatever. And you thought they threw it away because it was trash. Nope. It ain't trash. They actually recycled it. They fixed it, and now it's refurbished. That's the Cowboys with these first-round picks that teams have given up on and decided, nah, we can't do anything with it. Cowboys are talking about, now we'll repurpose it, we'll recycle it, we'll refurbish it, and they're doing a really good job with it.
No doubt.
So Cowboys,
that's why I told you when I sent y'all that, I was like, I was smiling inside internally because of the joy that they have been showing me of using refurbished type of players.
And
they got something to prove.
They do, but
they got something to prove.
I think it's I've always admired this particular method for the Cowboys to acquire talent. with you, I hear Bucky talk about this all the time, and I used to do it when I was younger. My mom would take us to Goodwills. We'd go shopping at Goodwills and everything. People take clothes to Goodwill. Goodwill sells them. People turn them in for free. Goodwill sells them at a profit. They make a profit.
Slightly used.
Slightly used,
There you
whatever
go.
you want to call it. And Bucky talks about going to Goodwill all the time. But there is in Westlake, there's a Goodwill, but they don't call it Goodwill. It's called GW by Goodwill. I'm not making this up. It's a boutique. It's a Goodwill boutique. I'm not making it up. People in Westlake, y'all know this. It's probably the best Goodwill out there. There ain't a better Goodwill out there than the Westlake GW boutique by Goodwill. That's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right, that's the Cowboys. They're getting this is GW by Goodwill. They're getting first round picks that everybody's giving up on and taking back the Goodwill for nothing, and they getting profit for it. They getting value from it. All right, so that's what I look at the Cowboys right now. They are basically that Westlake boutique. I think it's still there. I'm pretty sure it is.
I mean, I'm sure.
Oh, well, first of all,
I'm gonna drive by there tomorrow.
Goodwills don't really go out of business that often anyway because they got like tax exemptions and that kind of stuff. But the GW by Goodwill, the one in Westlake there, I assure you it's doing pretty well. Can you imagine the good stuff they have in there? It is. Y'all should go check it out. I know y'all don't like going to Goodwill, but go to
You'd be surprised how many people like going to Goodwill.
It ain't Goodwill. It's the GW.
Boutique.
By Goodwill. I BS you not. I think it says that out front. It says GW by Goodwill. Yeah.
Well, you know they got some nice stuff up in here, dog.
Well, Westlake ain't want no Goodwill in their neighborhoods. They're like, hey, you can't call it Goodwill.
Right.
Call it GW by Goodwill. We don't want no Goodwill up in Westlake, man. So it's the GW. Go check it out, though.
You
Go
see
check
what
it
somebody said, Rob? Why you out here giving out trade secrets?
Hey, I'm telling you. The Cowboys have been big on that for a long time. A lot of teams don't like to do it. I think the Cowboys have gotten some good deals from that.
They have.
They really have gotten some good deals off just taking a team who has given up on their first round pick for whatever reason. Cowboys look at their draft board and go, man, we had this guy's the first round pick too. Really?
Yep.
Let's go get him off the trash heap for cheap.
Let's go get them because they got something to prove too. When
They
they come
do.
back, they're like,
They're hungry.
man, I know that I need to do better. And especially if you're gonna go to be a Cowboy, you get paid if you go out there and play well. They'll re-sign you. Look at what all these players have done to stay with the Cowboys.
That's true. Malik Hooker got
Yes.
a contract again. Dante Fowler
Yes.
just got re-signed as
Donovan
well.
Wilson.
Donovan, yeah, you're right. No,
Yeah.
Cowboys. Except right now, the Cowboys are making all the right moves.
Somebody said that Philly is the Gucci store while y'all are at Goodwill. Congrats.
Well said there, sir.
I like it.
Hey, I can't
like
get mad
it.
at it. Hey, you know what? But listen, the Cowboys got to the divisional round with Goodwill, and y'all got Gucci, and y'all got to the Super Bowl. I would say value-wise, Cowboys still got good value
Oh,
there.
for sure.
We're talking about value here, all right? Value as opposed to, the production and the output that you're getting. So I agree with you about Philly, though. It's a great little point there. I like that. Was really good. All right, we come back. We'll get into another off the record on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a top of the charts Tuesday. Wow. Informer. Well done.
I love it.
I haven't heard this song in a long time. Do you remember who sings Informer? We should know this, Harch.
I mean, I know this.
This is Snow, right?
This is Snow.
Good
Yeah.
job. Yeah. It's a one-hit wonder,
Yes.
right?
I mean, I
Snow
can't
would have
imagine
another
he had
jam.
anything else. Also, the name of this album, 12 Inches of Snow.
Okay. Okay. 12 inches of snow. I'm not even going to get deep into that. That's a double entendre all the way, or triple entendre potentially. I'm not getting into that one. There you go. Top of the charts Tuesday. My man Patrick doing a great job. Plays jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. Remember, guys, we're going to be off early at 6:15, so we got one more segment. We got one more off the record before we get out of here. How about this? Jimmy G's in Vegas now?
You like
Vegas.
that, right?
I you know what?
I like
it.
Jimmy G
I like
there.
Jimmy G in Vegas. I really
Yep,
do.
I do too.
I think Jimmy G still got. You're a big Jimmy G fan. You have been
I
a
am.
Jimmy G fan from
Since
the start.
day
Yeah,
one.
I will say that you're a big. You and Joe Montana.
Yep.
You know, Joe Montana said Jimmy G needs to start for the 49ers. He's like, he should start. They were like out of Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. He still said it should be Jimmy G. He's
Yeah.
a big Jimmy G guy. And Harge is too. And by the way, Jimmy G's, I think he's got lots of proof because I think he's heard the narrative about him that he's a game managing quarterback and that he's a system quarterback and that he can't uplift a team, all that kind of stuff. And I think Jimmy G might be out to prove something this year. But anyway, that's my man Patrick and his Raiders. They can figure it out. But Jimmy G, apparently, he's already made his presence known in Vegas. Apparently, there are some ladies who are famous for their work at the famous Chicken Ranch brothel there in Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
And the two lovely ladies, Caitlin Bell and Alice Little, who work there, apparently they are really excited about Jimmy G being there. And they said if he accepts their offer, that they are offering him free sex forever at the Chicken Ranch brothel.
If you would use BlueChew.com, you can.
People are going to think that I'm setting Harge up for these things, and I'm not at all.
He is not.
I am
He is not at all.
not setting him up. But, yeah. So, Jimmy G. Jimmy G has dated women in the
remember?
adult entertainment industry.
Oh, yeah.
But, Jimmy G is so damn good looking. And, yes, as a heterosexual man can admit when another man is good
Oh,
looking.
Jimmy
And
G's jawline, man. That brother got it going on, man.
He's an attractive man, and
and he's a QB.
he don't need this offer. Exactly.
He's a QB.
And he's a pro athlete. He don't need this offer. He's fighting him off with a stick.
Exactly.
In Vegas, too?
Yes.
Oh, man, he's fighting him off with a
Yes.
stick. He really...
Just fine.
He could put up some Wilt Chamberlain numbers if he wanted to out there. He
How do
really
we
could.
know he haven't?
Maybe that's why Jimmy G ain't elite.
That's right.
Maybe he put up some Scottie Pippen type numbers 4 times a night.
That might be true.
You sure Shannon Sharp said basically that's why Scottie Pippen had them back problems? It's because Larsa Pippen was making him
Putting
bang
in
it
that
out
work.
4 times a night for 20-something years.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
Wow. Okay, there you go. So Jimmy G, he don't need that, man. Jimmy G is he's just fine. All right, Patrick, you still gonna be a Raiders fan? Are you gonna have another free agency fandom?
I'm not going to have another free agency fandom.
Okay.
I will say I'm either going back or I may be just done. May have no team.
really?
The Raiders are just such a dumpster fire.
They are. You did pick the wrong team. You picked it at the wrong
You
time.
did,
too.
too. At the wrong time. They was in turmoil. Soon as you saw Josh McDaniels, you should have ran the other way.
I thought Josh McDaniels, he had to have learned. He had to have learned from his mistakes. And no, he is basically like doubling down.
He is. You're
He's
right.
doubling down. He goes, I didn't work in Denver, but I'm going to do it here. It's going to work. Why? Why would it be any different? Hey, by the way, let's go look at the Patriots since Tom Brady left and tell me that organization is run well.
You guys know my theory on Belichickian coaches.
They
I wouldn't
never-
trust any of them. Except
never win.
Saban at the college level is the only exception, really. But the rest of them, oh, man, they're
No, if
trouble.
Aaron Rodgers ends up on the Jets, they could be third in that division real quick.
I love it.
Oh, man. Yeah. See, the thing about the Raiders, though, I will say is I think there's a chance because their defense is still decent, right?
Yeah.
Their defense is
They've been
decent.
adding. Well, their defense played terrible last year. Like, it played terrible. They had good players
But they
on
had
it.
good players
they
on
put
it.
money on it, and then they hired Patrick Graham from the Giants to be their DC, and it just never took.
That's Josh McDaniels, though.
And it just never took. And then they didn't run the ball. The problem is, too, like Darren Waller wanted out, so they got rid of Darren Waller. Josh Jacobs is
They
gone next
franchise
year.
tagged him.
They franchise tagged Josh Jacobs, and he's gone next year.
Yeah.
Like,
As a
for
running
sure.
back, yeah.
Just because, like, why would I stay?
And
I
you
don't
starting
want to
over-
play for you.
And you're starting over at quarterback, too.
You said, well, but it's like he needs his guys.
Because Jimmy G's a stopgap, right? Jimmy G's
you
not.
figure, well, but
Well,
if they
they're
don't,
going to give him.
They
if
don't give him money,
if they
he's a
don't trade up,
stopgap.
if they
He's-
don't trade up, they're not. At 7, they're probably not getting one of the 4 quarterbacks.
Well, not this year, but I'm just saying, like, he's not a franchise quarterback for the future.
No, but but also, like, if it's not this year, Josh McDaniels may get fired after this year.
No, that's fair, too.
Like, if they're
Yeah,
awful
that is
again,
very fair. That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. It's NFL, so you only got, I think, 3.5 years is the average tenure for a coach at a
and
job.
when this guy destroys your franchise by coming in and getting rid of all the guys you built and drafted and did well with, and then can't do any better, but always finds a way to blame somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, and I know if you're thinking about coming back to the Texans, come on. It'd be like you're back remarrying your ex-wife you're divorced. It's okay. It happens. I've seen people remarry exes they divorce. Don't worry about what other people are saying about you. You can come back to the Texans fandom. We'll accept you. with
I
open
can't
arms.
quit you.
Yeah, exactly. Come
I
on back,
can't.
baby. Come on back.
That's
Just-
right.
just need a
You
good
are
draft.
welcome
Just
home,
need a good
dog.
draft.
You are welcome
Yeah,
home.
you're welcome with the Texans, baby. Hey, I got a good seat on that
I
bandwagon.
was going to say, there's a lot of room left on that bandwagon,
Tough,
dog,
though.
because a lot of people jumped off.
A lot of
You
people jumped
saw
off
it
that
by
bandwagon.
attendance last
They
year.
did. A lot of people jumped off that bandwagon. You're right. Plenty of room on there, man.
You got time, bro.
And no Easterby, so we're done playing the gospel and the Christian rap on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
He was the band.
You got rid of Brandon Cooks, was the last vestige of the Easterby crew.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. That was it. He was
Yep.
the last one. I think
And so I think, yeah.
There
come
you
on.
go.
Come
that
on
was
back.
that was a long experiment to get Casario, wasn't it?
It was. I don't even know if it was worth it now in the
No,
end.
it wasn't. I can tell you straight up, it was not. But
Well, that's what happens when you have two flawed ideals as an organization. They tried to become the Patriots of the South. That's flawed. All
and
right?
now
You
they're
can't
trying to
do
be
that.
the Patriots in Sin City. The Raiders are.
Well, now the Raiders, that's a good point. But the Texans tried that for, 4 or 5 years? They would even use that term, Patriots of the South. You sound like some losers. Quit saying that. All right? You
Showing
don't
up
have
in them
Brady.
letter jackets
And
to
you
get
don't-
beat up.
Exactly. And then they tried to become essentially a faith-based NFL organization with
Yeah.
Easterby, and they want to make all of their decisions based on being led by nothing wrong with that, by the way. Chick-fil-A is a faith-based organization. That's hard to win games in the NFL being a faith-based organization.
Yeah.
And that failed miserably too.
Especially when your prayers are not being answered every Sunday.
when the football gods don't like you. they don't like you. All right, we come right back. We'll have a last segment here. We'll talk about Lamar Jackson. We got a strange, weird update, but I would expect nothing less. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. We're off a little bit early today at 6:15 to give you up to Texas baseball. Before we do that, we'll get back into some NFL news, notes, and nuggets. It is a Top of the Charts Tuesday. We play jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And my man Patrick DJing a Top of the Charts Tuesday. We appreciate his efforts and all of his creativity. That's why we call him the Idealionaire. We don't often get hip-hop with Top of the Charts Tuesday because I imagine most of the Billboard's top of the chart, Billboard's number one hits are not hip hop because hip hop is a relatively new genre. Like
you didn't get
years old.
You didn't get hip hop in the number one until probably 2010s. Maybe
I was gonna say
maybe early 2000s. You started to get some with like Nelly and stuff like that.
More regularity, but
but also once you get past the year 2000, number one songs stayed number one for a lot longer than they used to. So, like, if you're going back to the 60s, songs will be, like, max out at number one for, like, 3 or 4 weeks. And, like, a really big song will be, like, 6 weeks. And 2022, like, every song's at least 12 weeks.
Is that because of the promotion of the jam? Like once you get a top hit,
and it's also
so many different promotional
people don't buy
elements
records
around it.
anymore. So, it's like it changed the whole model with streaming of number ones that, like,
they almost go viral.
Yeah, like, it's a weird thing of how they judge number ones change from – well, it used to be, you sold the record, and then people bought all the records, and then they went and bought new records.
Yeah, now it's about streams.
And now you stream it, but they just
and
keep streaming the same thing over and over again, and you don't. It's just a weirder model of how it's done. And then there's just not as many like major labels that have bands out because major labels you needed the main reason most bands signed with major labels was for distribution, and you don't need distribution really anymore because everything's online. So it's not about getting your records in stores.
Yeah, just getting it heard, getting enough people to hear it.
So there's a lot of reasons, but now it's
getting spins.
Yeah, back in the day, you used to have to go pay DJs to go. I think that's illegal. So don't say you were doing that. But that's what they were doing. They were being pay a DJ to
never payola.
Exactly. There you go. That's what they call it.
Put a $50 bill on a record.
Hey, you know what? As long as you get them spins, man. Okay, how about this, guys? Jeremy Fowler went on ESPN. And he is now throwing out this, latest update about the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. He says, quote, and then when you talk about good fits, I asked some executives around the league what teams would make sense for Lamar Jackson. And then you got some wild cards like Tennessee Titans or New England Patriots, teams that like to run the ball. You never know. He also went on to say, the NFL executives mentioned Tennessee, who just cleared some cap space, and they have a new GM, Ran Carthon, who's working on the roster. They could use a running quarterback. They have experience with that in the past, and even a wild card like Minnesota. Kirk Cousins has 1 year left on his contract if they want to reestablish their identity. Man, and then we got this. This comes from Pro Football Talk. Pro Football Talk is claiming that a random representative of Lamar Jackson. Remember, Lamar Jackson is his own agent representing himself. But they are claiming, per multiple sources, a representative for Jackson has contacted more than one team in an effort to spark negotiations aimed at a possible offer sheet. The representative is not certified by the NFL Players Association. As one source explained it, the person has said Jackson does not, I repeat, does not want a fully guaranteed contract. Some regard this as a possible exercise in semantics, with Jackson still wanting a very significant amount of money fully guaranteed, but not the entire contract fully guaranteed, a la Deshaun Watson. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but that was what we thought. $200 million guaranteed is what we were guessing. He wants around $200 million guaranteed.
Yes, you're still going to pay a lot of money.
Yeah, so it's 4 years, $50 million, and your fifth year is an option without it fully guaranteed. I think is what they were saying that he wanted.
Yeah, so he still wants he wants the most guaranteed money ever.
Yes.
Period. So whatever you think of it, he wants the most guaranteed money. That's probably what you start saying rather than fully guaranteed deal. Just say you want the most guaranteed money ever.
Well, also, we know the Ravens were trying to collude to kill the market, too. So that was why they said guaranteed a bunch.
They weren't the only ones colluding.
Yeah. Well, you can't collude by yourself.
No, that's a great way to end the show. I was going to give another report, but you won't get better than that. That's like George Costanza. You got to leave on top. That was great. You can't collude by yourself. Amen, brother. Amen.
Well done, my friend. Well done.
All right, what's on tap for you, Harge?
I'm going to watch the World Baseball Classic, and I'm also going to watch Texas baseball tonight.
Ooh, a lot of hardball for
There
hardball.
is.
I like
That's
that.
right,
Patrick,
right.
what's on tap for you, brother?
Well, I watch World Baseball Classic and probably some basketball.
Oh, I like that.
I
I'm
watch a lot
watching-
of college, not as much NBA.
Yeah, I'm going to watch World Baseball Classic, too. I'm excited about
Yep.
it. And I'm going to finish watching Swarm, that Donald Glover show.
How was it?
It's graphic.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
graphic.
Well, I told you I saw the opening. I was like, oh, my
in
goodness.
a lot of ways. Very
Yeah.
graphic. I'll say that. I want to thank all you guys for listening. Remember, Revolution Not Be Televised. Talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves. But more importantly, take care of each other. We love you guys. We mean that. Peace.